Welcome in to the Boom Bust Fantasy Live Show. We have got trades, Dynasty trades in the queue for tonight, and it is not too late to get your trade questions added into the queue. If you're looking to get your trade questions covered, you can put them in on the site right there. If you're watching on the TikTok feed, if you're on YouTube or on Twitch, it scrolls across the top with the queue of who's up next and where you can enter your trades. Dan, I see you on the YouTube chat. Welcome in. Let's get the first trade up on the screen. Let's just get one going. Get one going, and then we'll see where we're at after that. First trade up on your screen. Anderson, NC15, asks, in a 10-team Superflex, start 90 starters each week. PPR, no tight end premium. Which side of this deal would you guys rather have? Chime in the chat, because I usually read other people's point of view, which is helpful to the people asking the questions. Here's what I think on this one. It's Trevor Lawrence on one side. On the other side is Jared Goff and 227 seconds. I think this is a trade that on a calculator lights up and says, yeah, okay. The seconds are enough. I don't think there's any situation where I would be doing this. If I'm down tiering from Trevor Lawrence, moving some of the youth that I have to go to Jared Goff, who is a solid quarterback, top 12 quarterback. CET prodigy, how long am I doing this? At least, I mean, I feel like it's going to take at least an hour to get through the trades that we have right now. I'm not sure how long we'll go tonight. On this deal, it does look like maybe there's enough value, maybe, but I just can't imagine there's any situation where I would be moving Trevor Lawrence down to Jared Goff and not getting a first on top. At least I got 28 first or a 27 first, or if I needed to, I'm adding a very small piece onto the Trevor Lawrence side to make it get to a first. You know, if we're looking, if we're in a situation where someone is looking at this and saying, going for Trevor Lawrence to Jared Goff, the 227 seconds makes the trade calculator look better. I'll typically put something on my side, like a very cheap option on the Trevor Lawrence side, to get it to the point where I can get Goff in a first, if I'm doing a deal like this at all. But in the situation that we have right here, in the league size that we're in, 10-team Superflex start 9, this one is not close to me. I'm sticking with Trevor Lawrence. And I can't think of any situation where I would make this deal. If I'm rebuilding, no, it's got to be firsts that I'm getting back. Let's submit that one as done. Site is giving me errors when I try to submit it. You guys able to access the site? Looks like it's having a bit of an issue. Maybe too many folks popping on. I thought I had cleaned that up. It was better on Monday. Maybe we've got some people hitting it right now. I think I should be able to get the next trade put onto the screen. Man, nothing going through. Yeah, CET Prodigy saying it's down. I was just using it. Okay, I think if this one's going live, I think it's just under use. So we did deploy, we had an issue with it. There we go. I think it was down and it needed to reboot. We had an issue with the site. It brought itself back online. Let's jump to the next trade in the queue, and then we'll check in on a couple. We'll check in on a couple of the questions from the chat. So if you've got a question in the chat, we're going to cover it. We'll do this trade, and then we'll jump to questions in the chat. Okay, this is big. This is a big one. In this deal, it's a 10-team Superflex, 6-point passing touchdown, start 9. So shallower league, 90 players, PPR, no tight end premium. On one side, we have Justin Jefferson and Omarion Hampton. On the other side, we have, let's see if I can read these and group them up. Bucky Irving, a 27 first, a 28 first, and then seconds and thirds until the value is even, is probably the way I'm going to describe this. This is someone likely taking a trade calculator tool and saying, how many seconds and thirds do I have to add until this trade seems fair? This question is coming from the person with Bucky Irving. So if I am taking this, Sports Jazz fans, I got rejected for this, but thoughts about giving up 26. Sports Jazz fan, is this thoughts about a different trade? Am I tracking this right, Sports Jazz fan? This is your trade and it got rejected? Because I think this is an immediate reject. If this came through to me and you're just vomiting out picks at me for the two best players in the trade, that's a clear no. So this is an obvious one where I'm saying Jefferson and Hampton, clear this easily. If you're ever getting trades like this where you punch it in and they're saying, oh, the value's kind of close. But if it's all thirds and seconds, and I there's no shot I'm taking that deal. There's no shot I'm ever considering it, or really, if I got this one, I don't know that I would even respond. Or it's a very quick deny for me. Sometimes if you're in a league with me, you may have, if you're in a league with me, you may have experienced this. A trade, you send me a trade, and before you've even sent the secondary message, I get some trades from people. They'll send the offer and then they will tag me in the chat. Like I might have missed the chat, and before they've even done that, I've already hit decline. That's probably what that trade would have been for me. Dewey, how are you? Thanks for popping in on the Twitch feed. Let's go to, let's clear the screen and let's cover some from the chat, because I said I would do that. CET Prodigy, we'll see how long we go. We had covered that one. User 284, you take the picks and trade into the one in 27? Oh, are you talking about the Jared Goff trade? Let's pull. I don't think I can quickly get that one back up on the screen, and I should have said that. If that person's still here, we'll go ahead on that. Robert saying, I took Love in the second round. Did I make a mistake? It depends where you took him in the second round. If you took Jeremiah Love at 201, 202, there's probably other people I like there. Bends it over. You did my review the other day and told me to trade Cam Ward for Dak and got it done in 10 minutes after. There we go. Was it just a straight up trade? Because I think on that one, Bends it over, I put in, I think I had said, what's the wording I would have used? That there's a little bit of hype on Cam Ward and you might be able to get Dak straight up, but I would be willing to add X onto the package. You just get it straight up. Jack P, tooting for a 28 late first. That's about the price. I wouldn't think that's crazy. I would not think that is crazy for a 28 late first. Nick, you just inherited an orphan team and logged into bootbustfantasy.com. How do I submit my team? I will show you. Here's something I was looking at for a trade that's coming up. I did do some pre-research just to get a gauge of what the market thinks. But here's our site, boombustfantasy.com. If you are looking to submit your trade questions like Jack, who we did cover a little bit of his trade question. If you want to submit your trade questions, this is where we do them. We're not really reading them from the chat. Here's how easy it is to make your account and sync your sleeper leagues. Here we are on the homepage. You hit get started. I'm logged in to this instance of Gmail with this instance of Google Chrome with my Gmail. You hit continue with Google and it makes your account. You're done. You type in your sleeper username. We can't change anything about your sleeper leagues, but we can read your sleeper data. So it's just pulled all of my leagues. So if you just took over an orphan team and you wanted to submit it, you pick that league, hit continue. We do have a connection to our Discord server for posting your trade questions to Discord with a link back to your roster and your scoring, so you don't have to type it out for people. I've seen plenty of people on our Discord posting 5 super long screenshots of their roster and all of the notes of their scoring, you could just connect your Discord and post your trades directly to it from there. But if you're trying to submit your team, like who was this? This was Nick. If you wanted to submit your team, it's right here on the team advice page. To get it added into our team review queue, you would hit request team review, and it does require team review credits. I think it's a premium product, and we charge for it. We charge for those. There's a big follow-up. We cover them live on the show, and then there's a large follow-up page on the site under my advice with detailed trade breakdowns. Like we had Ben's in here saying he offered a trade straight up that was suggested in there. He got countered with Cam and a third for Dak and took it. I think that's fine. I think that's a good deal to get just more production for Benzit over. We took a look at his team on Monday and said, you've got a lot of young quarterbacks. We don't need 3 young quarterbacks. Let's go get Dak Prescott, who's just top 6 when he's playing. So that is where you do that. Let's get another trade on the screen. Or did we cover all of them? Like Evan, best spot to draft from in an 8-man PPR? None. Not that there's nothing about the league. Just there's no such thing as a good or bad draft spot. There's no such thing. It's hard to, I mean, it's one of the things in the fantasy football ecosystem, whatever you want to call people making content and people watching content, that's just kind of made up that is nothing. It's nothing at all. So Evan saying best spot to draft from in an 8-man PPR league. Your draft position has 0 relation to how well you are going to do in your league. Oh, we got a ban on Twitch. It just has no relation to how you're going to do in your league. So don't worry about it. Every minute that you're spending going into people's chats and saying, what's the best spot to draft from in an X size league is just wasted time. What you should just be doing is looking at who are we going to take in rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, stuff like that. George Panos, how do you get access to the Discord? It should be !Discord. Oh, not on TikTok though. On TikTok, it's tinyurl.com/boomdiscord. And that should be in our profile as well. There's links to it on Twitch. The Twitch chat, you can do !Boom_Discord. The YouTube chat, you can do !Boom_Discord. Let's see. Benzit Over says the follow-up after the live was worth it. Thank you, Benzit Over. He is talking about the team review process. And I put a fair amount of work into the follow-ups that you get from the team reviews with just breakdowns of here are real trades in your league. I've looked at their rosters. We're taking a guess of what they're thinking, what their team needs, et cetera, and so on. We get pretty into it. Opposition JW, will Terry's production be lower or not as much with Diggs signing? It'll be the same. It'll be the same or possibly higher. You do just need enough players on an offense. If I'm a starting wide receiver for your team, everyone does worse. So we just have to get enough usable receivers. Does Terry's McLaurin go down? Terry's production go down compared to last year when they had I'm blanking on the other Debo? It's the same. Diggs, Debo, it's not going to massively change things. Mark, in a 10-man PPR, I have 109. Should I feel confident taking Cook and Achane? Sure. I don't draft Achane a lot. I may grab a top wide receiver in place of Achane, but I like Cook there. User 1-2-something, Omar Cooper for Tootin. You can submit it right there. We're covering trades soon. We're going to jump back to trades very soon. Omar, if your question is just a dynasty trade, put it in on the site. We get really nice graphics for the trades. You'll see in just a moment. I love carbs. I love to trade. Where do you find people like that type of action in our leagues? I love carbs. There are 10 Boom Bust Dynasty leagues that we've started up over the past couple of years. Nick, thoughts on Mahomes for Bryce Young and T. Higgins on a rebuilding team? Nick, what are you talking about, Nick? Put it on the site. We've got a list of trades we're going through. Let's get right into it. Speaking of, because we're just getting some dynasty trades in the chat, let's put one on the screen. Here comes the next one. Looks like the site is, we're going to have some issues with the site. Here it is. Here it is. If you're getting something that says 502, just wait it out. It looks like there's an issue with performance on the site that we'll have to clean up this weekend. I have a very good hunch of what it is. I tried one thing, it was working slightly better. We're going to hit another thing this weekend. Just one person, I can't fix it while we're live. Let's take a look at this trade from Cabe. I do not know if I'm saying that right. I'm not going to commit too much time to trying to figure that one out. In a 12-team super flex, start 9, PPR, half-point tight end premium. One side of the deal is Hampton, Christian Watson, and a 27 second. On the other side of the deal, it's a 28 first, the 102, Matthew Golden and Alec Iamaner. This feels like I could be swayed close to the 102. I could be swayed close to the 102. If we start crossing things off, how does this look if we just remove Alec Iamaner and a 27 second? They're not even value. I'd much rather have a 27 second than Alec Iamaner. And actually, let's just cross Iamaner out of the trade at all. I don't know that he has all that much value. So am I doing the 102, a 28 first? I would need 2 firsts for Hampton. I mean, Hampton, if we're sending for Hampton the 102 and a 28 first, I think that's got to get it done. Or that's a fair trade. We don't have to go more than that. If a manager in your league, if you're in a situation where you have the 102 and a 28 first and you offer it to the Omari and Hampton owner and he says no, that's okay. If he counters and says, I need more, you say, no, this is a good price. We're done. So from there, it's then Christian Watson for Matthew Golden, and then the difference of a 28. This one's pretty close. Pretty close. I love carbs. Do you find trade calculators useful? Not really. Somewhat. I'll talk about that. Because actually, I have a trade where we're going to talk about that. I love carbs. I already pulled up the trade calculator example. How are we doing? How am I doing on this one? Like Golden to Watson. I kind of like Watson. I may just stay with the Hampton side here. I kind of like both sides. No, I'm staying with the Hampton side. How do I put it into words? Here's what I'd say. You could just get more. You could get more with this Hampton package. I like a lot of the assets on the other side, but if you're moving Hampton, Watson in a second, you could probably get more. So in that situation, I'm picking the Hampton side. The person asking this question has Omari and Hampton. I'm staying with Hampton. I think we are 1, 2, 3 away from the trade showing some trade calculator information. We're just discussing trade calculator content for I Love Carbs. And then I think we had another one. No. We're there. We're in 3. So let's go to the next trade. For Jake L Music on the YouTube feed, check the top. It should be right here where you can submit your trade question. Jake L Music. We don't pull them from the chat because we get these graphics built out if there's something is submitted through the site. Jacob, we're probably not gonna rate your draft. Dan Grimm, essentials only. 12-team super flex. Start 11. It's deep. How are we doing this deal? Someone says, the notes here says, this guy really wants my Waddle. I have an idea of what my response is going to be here, but I haven't read the trade yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but this seems like a good value. Not sure if I want to start any of these players other than Sutton. He doesn't have much value in picks. What do you think? What do you think will yield value in the future? Can Sutton be 70% of Waddle? The deal is Jalen Waddle for Xavier Worthy, Cortland Sutton, and Rashad White. With the roster here from Dan Grimm. Now, was Dan Grimm? Dan Grimm was in the YouTube chat. This is a deal where you have Jalen Waddle as one of your top 2 wide receivers. We're looking at the team. It does show up on Twitch and on YouTube. So if you're on the TikTok feed, there are spots where you can see more information. Am I moving Jalen Waddle for this? Unlikely. Unlikely. I think the market in general is just low on Waddle. We're not quite at my normal response when we get a note that someone says, God, this guy really wants my player. And then we look at the trade. Typically my response is like, it doesn't seem like they want your player. It seems like they want to get something for a bunch of garbage. And this is a lot of garbage. Not necessarily calling everything garbage here, but just saying they are sending a lot of lower tier assets. I don't know that Rachaad White holds much value. Courtland Sutton could be in his last 1 to 2 years. This could very easily blow up in your face. And there's not a high likeliness of big upside here. So they are offering a lot. I would not do it. I would not do it. If you're moving Jalen Waddle, there's just so many better types of trades you could make with Waddle, with the best player in this deal. I mean, you could also just say, put it out there to the league. You could also put this out there to the league and say, like, hey, I'm looking to move Jalen Waddle. What sort of offers could I get? Or you could just build bigger, better offers than this that probably get done. If someone comes to you with an offer and it's 3 for 1, there's a good chance it's kind of rough, especially if it's someone like Rachaad White, who could be fine for the commies this year, or could be kind of just done for fantasy after this year. It could go both ways. Same thing with Xavier Worthy. Same thing with Courtland Sutton. So why bring on all that risk for very little upside? I don't know that you could get a ton more from him. Maybe. Let's go with, we're having some site issues. It's going to be a rough one on the show until the site reboots. Here we go. Next trade, Antigan 29 in a 10 team Superflex, start 10. Just see the words, read the words. See the words, read the words. Just don't make them up. In a 10 team Superflex, start 9. Which side of this deal do you guys want to be on? Christian McCaffrey and Jacoby Brissett, or Tyler Shuck, Zay Flowers in a first? This is one, I don't know if this trade got entered incorrectly. For me, this is the Zay Flowers Shuck side by a million miles, by so long. The person who put this trade in has Christian McCaffrey and Jacoby Brissett is just like we were talking about with the last trade. Like, Jacoby Brissett might not start all of the games for Arizona this year. He's on a 1-year deal. Arizona does not project to be very good. It is likely that they are it would not surprise me at all if they're drafting early next year and picking a quarterback to replace Jacoby Brissett. In situations like that, last year, Justin Fields did not start all of the games for the Jets. Kyler Murray did not start all of the games for the Kyler. They just switched to someone else. This one, there's not really any... I'm slamming accept on this. Even if I need a running back, if I'm sending Christian McCaffrey away and I'm not getting a running back in return, I'm then just taking Tyler Shuck, Zay Flowers in a first and trading them for a much better running back than I had to start with. It's just such a massive value win that I feel like something wasn't entered correctly. Okay, here's the trade that I was thinking of when we brought up trade calculators and the concept of rebuilding in a deal. John Cady, I don't know if that's how to say the name. John Cady, 23 in Dynasty mode. It's a 12-team Superflex 6-point passing touchdown. And then we're going to check some messages from the chat. It's 6-point passing touchdown, start 9 PPR, Chris Olave or Tank Dell, Troy Franklin, and a 26 early second. And this is closer to what I thought we would end up getting with Dan Grimm's trade. This is not nearly as close as the one Dan Grimm was offered, but John here is trying to get Chris Olave. They're in the league. Jamar's attacks. There's no shot that, I don't think there's any shot this gets accepted, but it's Olave by a million billion miles. Lions fan says that's terrible. That's like giving up Chris Olave for 2.22 to 204. Yeah, this is not anything we want. Shub, if you have a trade question, just put it in. Put it in. Put it in, Shub. Put it in on the site, Shub. We're not going to read it from the chat. So when we're looking at something like this, I did say I was going to pull up like, hey, trade calculators, they're kind of garbage. If you took something like this and it looks together, it puts it all together and says, hey, this could be close, there's still no shot we're doing it. There's no shot we're doing it. If I'm rebuilding with Chris Olave, there's just a message in general for people rebuilding. When you have valuable assets, don't ever take a deal like this. I would no situation ever be taking a deal like this. I am basically always going to be pairing something with Olave to try to get a tier down wide receiver and a first round pick back. So there's just not a shot we're doing it. Let's check some messages from the chat. If you've got redraft questions, if you have questions for redraft, submit them. We're going to read, put them in the chat. We're going to read some of them. We'll keep bouncing back and forth between the dynasty trades that we have in the queue. And we'll also talk redraft. And starting next week, we'll be doing more shows each week so that your trades in the queue won't be waiting a couple days. And then we'll have more time to cover draft questions. Draft season's is now. People have already started doing some of their fantasy football drafts. So we'll be here covering a couple questions. Here, first time chatter on Twitch, Starry Skies. How do you feel about Chase Brown as my RB2 in the second round? I think it's fine. I think that's fine. And there's a lot of stuff people will say about the first couple rounds in videos or in conversation or something like a spot like this where we're in a live chat. The first couple of rounds of your fantasy draft they're hard to mess up. How do we feel about, what's a better way to say this? If the question is, how do we feel about Chase Brown in the second? If you took Jonathan Taylor as your first running back, no one knows if it's going to be a bad pick. There's no information that we have right now that would tell you it could be a bad pick. There's just not actually that much stuff to say about questions like that. Gilded Mage, what's going on? Outpost from TikTok. Welcome in. After all the trades this offseason, turned a Ken Walker I turned Ken Walker 1-year contract, Nick's 2-year contract, and Zay 1-year contract into Chase 3-year contract, Bowers 2-year contract, and Mahomes 1-year contract. I don't know what a ton of that means for your league, but it sounds like you're happy about it. PJ Ward, what's up? Am I taking redraft questions? Yes, we are. Yes. Gilded Mage, are we higher on Odunze or Tet? I'm much higher on Tet in general for Dynasty, for redraft. I like Odunze. I'm in Chicago. I would love it if Odunze was good. We just haven't seen it happen a ton yet. Scuba Steve says Jack hates all Bears. A little. I mean, I'm a massive Bears fan. I would be thrilled if they're great. Maybe I do talk like I hate all the Bears. CET Prodigy, if you could only give one piece of advice about becoming a better fantasy analyst, what would it be? Ooh. It's hard to say because I am in a current struggle right now with like, do we just tell people the stuff they want to hear? Like right now, we just got a message from Jacob4, left your stream earlier after you declined to rate my draft with some attitude. You got 5 viewers, bud. I suggest you talk to the few people you're lucky to have watching your brain dead, dog shit, useless opinions. Put the fries in the bag, old man. Hey, Jacob. I mean, you might have a crush on me. You might have a crush on me. You might have a crush on. Why is he so angry? I don't know. The tip of being a better fantasy analyst. What the hell would I do rating this guy's draft? What do I tell? I could tell him it's great and he would like me more. I could tell him it was bad and he would like me less. So we're in a constant back and forth of, do I tell people the information that they like to click on? Or do I tell them, hey, the thing that you're looking at really doesn't matter. Most of what is happening in training camp doesn't matter. Me rating your draft, we might start doing that in the next couple of weeks. It probably won't be free because now just as a fantasy analyst, I feel like if I'm going to do something stupid, I should make someone pay for it. So if Jacob wants to pay to have me read who his players are and then give my thoughts on it, we can, but I won't believe that it's useful for him. But he'll get mad if I tell him that. He already has gotten mad. He told me to put the fries in the bag. Okay. So I don't know. CET Prodigy. PJ Ward, do you think Cook is going to fall to the 12th pick? Yeah, he definitely could. If so or not, thinking of going 2 running backs at the 1-2 turn, who would I go? I've been staying away from Achane there. At the 1-2 turn, I like James Cook. I still kind of like Derrick Henry. Oh, we could leave him in there, Scoob. We can leave him in there. He'll come back. I'm not super hyped on Achane's ADP. Let's check on, there's a couple questions in the TikTok chat, and then we'll hit a couple more trades from the queue. Coig Tatum, if you guys have Dynasty trades, we'll be putting them right on the site there. Peyton Ward, it's almost here when Jack is back. I didn't leave. I don't know how TikTok is managing getting me back in front of people. Like, I didn't go anywhere. We just covered Dynasty all off season. We've been doing live shows for months. J-Tan, am I dumb to take St. Brown over JSN? I don't think so. I don't think they're that far apart going into a reset year. Got a different offensive coordinator for JSN. We do have a different offensive coordinator for Amon-Ra St. Brown, but we've seen that situation somewhat work itself out. They had an offensive coordinator last year where Amon-Ra St. Brown was still performing. And then mid-season swapped him out and Dan Campbell took over play calling and Amon-Ra was still wide receiver 3. I think we're picking nits between those two, but I wouldn't think you're stupid. Lions fan, what trade calculator do I use for redraft? I trade calculators on redraft. I'll typically look at fantasycalc.com. They infer values based on real trades. But anything like that is going to take a couple days of real trades happening before the values get updated. In redraft, it's a lot of just different trade principles that I stick with in terms of like go 2 to 1 as often, go send 2 players to get 1 as often as you can, send 3 to get 2 as often as you can. And that generally will get you to a win on the trade. Benny Hurd, would you keep Neighbors at the 12th round, but risk losing Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 1st? Would get Justin Jefferson if so? I'd probably just take Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 1st round and then draft Neighbors if I really wanted him back. But I don't know when you need to make that decision. M. D'Angelo, Alec Pierce will be a top 10 wide receiver. I doubt that. Let's hit a couple of the questions in... Oh, we covered this one. Let's take this next one from the Dynasty trade queue. It's coming up on your screen. Here it is. Oh, that one we couldn't submit it. Should be going through right now. Here we go. Oh, on this deal, 12-team Superflex start 9, Troyo 209, Football Addicts, Trevion Henderson, or Zay Flowers in a 3rd. Which way are we going on this one? We would be sending Henderson for a team that does need a receiver in Big Brock's crotch is the team. Very, very cool, Brock. Very cool, Brock. Sick crotch, bro. Oh, they have Brock Bowers and Brock Purdy. Double Brocks. We got double crotch action. Would I send Trevion Henderson for Zay Flowers in a third? I might shoot higher. I don't think it's a horrible move. No, the team has Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, J.K. Dobbins. I think there's still real upside in Trevion Henderson that I would not want to move on from. That's why I'm not just saying, yes, do it. But yeah, for a wide receiver, that is a solid way to go get one. Other options for a team like this would be down tiering from Brock Bowers to add in a wide receiver, or down tiering from Josh Allen to add in a wide receiver. But they've got Ibuka, McConkey, Alec Pierce, and then Parker Washington, Ricky Pearsall, who's rest in peace, Ricky. So, yeah, I don't think it's crazy. Bringing in, actually, the extra context the extra thing that I would give is, extra information I would give is moving Trevion Henderson to an asset that we think is probably lesser, like Zay Flowers, even or lower, but then getting a third on top. I guess I'll do it. I guess I would call it okay. It doesn't excite me. No one wins. Maybe the team that wins is the one that gets Trevion, or is the team that is likely to be the winner in 3 months when we know the answer. But I think that's an answer. I think that's an answer for the show. We've got 8 trades in the queue. Let's catch a couple of them. We've got 9 trades in the queue. We updated it. Let's do this one for Grover 31. It's coming up on the screen. Someone receiving Bowers, they would be sending Ted McMillan and a 27 projected late first with Greg Dulcich on top, or Brock Bowers. They've already got Brock Bowers, so I think they made the deal. I think we paid the full price here. Is it a horrible paying the full price? No. Sending a first and Tet to get Bowers is not horrible. For the team doing it, they have Jamar Chase, Jordan Tyson. They're bringing in Brock Bowers. This is you can check out the team on Twitch and on YouTube. This is a team that has a ton of firsts, and now they're starting to buy their way out of the rebuild. When I'm rebuilding, I want a bunch of firsts, and then I want to trade for players, and that's what they're doing. This is definitely a spot where you paid the full price. There wasn't any sort of discount. They say they have wide receiver assets. Oh, it's a 12-team start 8, actually. In a start 8 where they have Jamar Chase, Jordan Tyson, and kind of nothing else. They could end up still going and buying more receivers. So I'm going to call this this even. Greg Dulcich, really, I don't care about in this trade much at all. So I'm going to say it's even, or the package slightly. You probably could have gotten something back with Bowers. You probably could have gotten a third back with Bowers pretty easily. Let's go with Kush. We're going to do this trade and another one, and then we'll catch up with your chat messages. So if you've got one, we'll get there. Okay. Kush P and a 10-team Superflex start 9. The trade is Breece Hall and Chris Godwin, or Kyron Williams. The notes here say the 3 things are what making me want to make this deal. And this is someone sending Breece Hall to get Kyron Williams. So the notes say, well, I think Breece is better individually. The Rams are better than the Jets. Numbers-wise, Kyron has had 3 back-to-back seasons, breaking 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. Breece hasn't done that consistently. That's true. Number 2, you want to complete the golden handcuff since I have Blake on the bench. I don't care about that. That part I don't really care about that. Number 3, Diggs getting a contract. I'm higher on Diggs than Godwin as a wide 2. If I'm looking at the roster, he has Stephon Diggs. I don't think, okay. We've reviewed Kush's team. We've covered some questions for Kush. I know Kush likes to trade. Would I do this deal? No. No. I would not send Breece Hall and Chris Godwin for just Kyren Williams when I think you should get at least a second round pick back. Like we're that far off. This is a situation where like it's fun to trade. You might be right about Kyren, but the market has these guys neck and neck in value. I pulled them up. This isn't nothing that, I mean, I've pulled these guys up earlier as an example of like play the market. I'll just switch to the browser view here where we've got this trade broken down as Breece Hall and Chris Godwin. And I've been saying like, I feel like you should get a second round pick back on. And like, that's where it is. The general market is, which is what Keep Trade Cut is saying we like Breece Hall the same as Kyren Williams or more. So would I do this even if I think Kyren might be better? No, because anytime you're making a trade, you need to be looking at, like, if you think you're making a call on a player, get the market rate. Don't overpay to make your call, because that's what this is. I kind of like Kyren more than Breece Hall, but most other people have him about even. So get paid as if they're even. Like, you shouldn't even have to include Chris Godwin on this trade. If you just swapped Breece Hall for Kyren Williams, I think that's fine. I don't see a reason to do it other than you just really want to call your shot. Like, I would make a bigger trade doing something else. And even if you have Stephon Diggs coming in to be a wide receiver for you, this is kind of just giving Godwin away. Get something back. I think you could just get something more back, Kush. Let's look at, so I'd say stay where you are, or if you're building deals out like that one, you should just be getting a whole other player back on the Kyren Williams side, and maybe even put something in on, if you wanted to put another player in on your side. I don't have the Kyren Williams roster pulled up in front of me, but like you could go 3 for 2 or 3 for 3 and just move value around. But this one isn't going to line up on value. Let's go CW Forked. 10-team Superflex Start 9 PPR. Okay, we've got some notes on this one. It's a bigger trade. You guys start taking a look at it. Well, I'll read it and then we'll read the notes. We've got DJ Moore, Quentin Johnston, and Bashal Tootin. Older receiver, younger, okay receiver in Tootin. Or George Kittle, Josh Jacobs, Matthew Golden, a 27 third and a 26 second. The notes here say, I feel like Tootin will have his breakout, and Josh Jacobs is just getting up there in age, concerns with health towards the end of last year. All true. Adding DJ to stack my starting wide receiver core, and Quentin for a possible breakout in the new McDaniel offense and less wide receiver competition. Don't really need Kittle with my current tight end and picks this year. I don't feel we'll do much to win now. Sure, your picks won't. I think it's a pretty fair trade and gives me a better team while also adding some potential breakouts to take me to the top. I think I've seen trades of just Tootin for Josh Jacobs straight up. And I think that would be fine. There is a tight end premium in this league. I mean, you could probably get these players for less. Like I think you shouldn't have to send a second round pick on this trade. And if here's what I would say. Like, I agree with the stuff that you've said, but we're just paying more than we should need to. Like, if you'd like it can be tough to get a full gauge on all of the players in the market. I feel like I like all of the things that you said about these guys. DJ Moore, I agree. Bashal Tootin, I agree. It could be a good breakout year for him. I don't think you're wrong on those takes. I think you're just overpaying for those takes. Maybe this is a situation where we're feeling like, well, I don't really need George Kittle. These picks don't help me win now, so I can send them all. But you could get more with this stuff. like we could pull Matthew Golden out of this deal and send picks. We could pull Kittle out of this deal and keep the picks in there, and it would still probably be closer to a fair deal. So I think we'd be sending a bit too much. But you're not wrong in general with the concepts behind the deal. Mostly more so, this feels a lot like what we were just talking about with Cush's trade, where we're looking at it and saying like, yeah, I can understand your thought process. And I also kind of like Kyron Williams more than Breece Hall, but I don't want to pay this much just to get that guy when I should be able to get him for less in general. Let's cover some messages from the chat. Jack Guzman. Ooh, another Jack. Jadarian Price thoughts compared to the other running backs at similar ADP in redraft, Jack? I like him there. I've got a video on Jadarian Price saying I'm drafting him in a lot of spots this year. We still have a full month of training camp in the offseason where we'll get more information about Zach Charbonnet. But I was seeing Jadarian Price 7th, 6th round, and I like him there. I love carbs, 12-team Superflex Dynasty. Can a package of Judkins and Scatabo net me an elite anything? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Let's take a look at that. I love carbs. Here's what we have on our site. If you are asking, this answer is for everyone, and this place is for fun. This answer is for everybody. Oops, let's clear the overlay so that we can see this. If you are asking, I've got these players. What can I get? Can I get an elite anything for them? Yes, you can. Or well, one, with the players you suggested, yes, you can. The follow-up question is, what can I get? And we have that. Oh, this is the wrong screen being shown. Here's the screen that we have. We have our trade builder. If you have players, the question again was, can a package of Judkins and Scatabos net me an elite anything? If you want to get a gauge of that, we built that into our site. It pulls your league. You set it to the league that you're asking about. It'll pull the scoring settings from that league and pull trade values for that league. So what you can do is click on your players. Let's say I wanted to move Jonathan Taylor and Justin Jefferson. It is building real trade packages instantly with the rosters from your league. It's not just hypotheticals of two players that might not be on the same roster. This is just pulling them from the rosters in your league. So if I said I want to move Justin Jefferson and Jonathan Taylor, and I need a tight end and I want a wide receiver back. So I want these two positions and I just want a package of two players. I just want to move two and get two. It's gone through my league and said, well, you could get JSN and Sadiq. You could get Bowers and Brian Thomas. You could get Puka and Fannin. You could get Bowers and Christian Watson. This league has a tight end premium. So it's taken that into account and it builds out even value setups based on the players you are looking to move from your team. And then you can take those and send those out as trade offers. It pulled up 4, but you can click show more. Let's say I wanted to look at Harold Fannin, but I didn't want to shoot that high for Puka Nacua. You can just click Harold Fannin and it'll pull up the roster that has Harold Fannin and then expand this back out. And now it's suggesting other players that you could add into the trade, and it's going to try to help you build a fair value trade. RS, this is only for sleeper leagues right now. We will add in, our plan is to have this ready for the regular season with ESPN and Yahoo redraft leagues as well. I want to send these players away. Who can I get? I just don't have redraft rosters to show yet. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll build that. So that was a question from the chat. Let's check out some other questions from the chat. Drew, Javonte Williams for a late 27 first rounder, put it on the site. If it's a dynasty trade, Drew, put it in on the site. We've got a queue of those. R. Shazy, do you have to pay for that for the trade builder? That is free right now. We don't even have ads on it yet. It's listed in beta, so we're finding issues like some of the clicking of these, the positions and the package sizes aren't intuitive. So we'll clean that up and find out any other issues on there. But no, there's no payment for it right now. Chase, Bucky Irving thoughts? In Dynasty, I think he's underrated. And in redraft, I think he might be a little bit overvalued. I really like Bucky Irving. If we pivot, I'll pull up. I don't think I can quickly pull. I don't think I have a browser where I'm logged into Sleeper. I'm not worried about most of the things people are saying about Bucky Irving. I think they're right. So people are with Bucky Irving are concerned that Kenny Gainwell is there and will have a larger role. Yeah, that's fine. Bucky Irving's a really good RB2 now. And in redraft, he's an expensive RB2. In Dynasty, he's a really cheap RB2 right now, or a pretty good value for 4 to 5 years of being running back 12 through 24 or like 12 through 18 for the next 4 years. I think his value there, pretty good. Pretty good. If we look back 5 years from now and say, man, Bucky Irving became like a DeAndre Swift, who's just always been running back 12 to 16, 12 to 17. The price for Bucky Irving is pretty good for that sort of future. Is he going to be 70% of the snaps and the lead guy and a top 10 running back? He might still have that upside. But we're not pricing him out for that right now. And at the price you're paying, if you just got an RB2 for the next couple of years, it would be a good price. Tom, best tight ends to target. Same with quarterbacks in PPR. We did a quarterback video today, Tom, and we already have a tight end video. Check that one out on the TikTok, Tom. Let's get to another sleeper trade. We've got a Dynasty League trade coming in. This is the one we just did. This is one we just did. I just hadn't refreshed the page for queuing stuff up. I think we are on to E-Slat from 46 minutes ago. How long have we been going live? We've been live for 53 minutes ago. So these are shows made. These are trades submitted during the show. E-Slat, 12-team Superflex, start 9, PPR half-point tight end premium. It's big, 5 for 5. I don't love big 5 for 5 trades. We'll talk about them. But I think you can get a little bit, you can sneak in values like for, is this third for fourth swaps? Okay. Lad McConkey, Zay Flowers, a 27 first, a 27 first, or Trey McBride, a second, DJ Moore and Sutton. Are we sending, it's probably like McConkey and 2 firsts for Trey McBride. It's not horrible. Let me see how this looks. I got something I'm cooking up in the background. How do I feel about this? I'm looking at something else. We'll share it if I feel good about it. We're working on a new tool. Yeah, almost. No. Okay, we won't show that then. I'm not confident with it. We're working on a new trade analysis tool, and it's not quite there yet. So sharing is caring, Scoob, but I don't want to show something if I don't feel great about it. We're working on a tool that will help analyze trades, but it still needs some work. How do we feel about this? Are we sending, what did we say, with Lad and 2 firsts? You could probably get Cortland Sutton thrown in on that. So then it's Zay Flowers for DJ Moore and some seconds. 2 firsts and Lad for McBride, and the second was 1. Okay, so here we, actually, let's read the notes. Let's read the notes. CET Prodigy says, personally, you like the Lad side. I'm kind of feeling that way too so far. I'm not instinct on these. So let's take a look at the notes. Took a big swing. I made these technically as 2 separate deals. Sure. 2 firsts and Lad for McBride, and the second was 1. So that's kind of what I was saying when we were looking at prices. 2 firsts and Lad for McBride, and then I was saying, well, you could probably get something thrown in on there. And that's what it was. 2 firsts and Lad for the second, or 2 firsts and Lad for Trey McBride and a second. And then Zay and the third got me DJ Moore and Sutton. I would have probably stuck with Zay. Lad McConkey and 2 firsts for Trey McBride in a second is a big swing to bring in more value. And I think his team was moving. If you take a look at the roster, they had a lot of firsts. So the payment for Trey McBride, I'm fine with. They still have two 27 firsts remaining. Their wide receivers then stay Chris Olave, DJ Moore, Michael Wilson, Pearsall, Parker Washington, Cortland Sutton. I probably would have stayed with Zay Flowers. So on the combo there, on the first trade, I'm liking it. On the second trade, I'm not that thrilled with it. And then the third for fourth is kind of nothing to me. Cowboys for life with the question, what about your trade analyzer will be different than the other options out there? Let me see what it showed on this one. I'll show you what it would do. Actually, now that we've talked about it, now that we've talked this trade through, let's pull this up. What it's trying to do is take bigger trades and break it into smaller deals to see what shows up. To see if viewing a larger trade like this as two smaller deals helps make the decision a little bit easier. And this just, oh. Okay. 12 teams start 9. So that's probably close to this. It tries it here. We'll show it. Eddie Slats did this based off Pearsall going down to get some depth. You just wanted more startable receivers. I probably would have looked at moving some of the firsts, but I don't know. Eastlight, here's what it's going to do. I don't stand by anything that shows on here. We're tuning things in. Or excuse me, there's Cowboys for Life asking what our trade analyzer would do that's different than other ones. I don't know what other ones do. I haven't really found one that I loved. And right now, I'm not always loving this one. So here's what we're building out and tuning the algorithm for. The trade analyzer would take this trade here, and it tries to break it into separate trades. So we were saying Ladd McConkey and 2 firsts was the actual trade that happened that got joined into 2. It tries to find 2-for-1 packages that make sense in there, or 1-for-1 packages to start crossing things off in a trade. One of the first things I do when I'm looking at evaluating a trade of multiple pieces is say, can we find 1-for-1 things and take this from a 5-for-5 trade and burn it and bring it down to a couple smaller deals that we feel comfortable about? So with the trade that actually happened was, what was it? Ladd McConkey and 2 firsts for Trey McBride and a second. This is saying Ladd and Zay Flowers gets you close to Trey McBride. It's a little bit low with some of the numbers that it's adding up here. So we may need to tweak that and tune it in. It's looking to just break bigger trades into smaller trades as an analysis tool. But there's nothing, I wouldn't publish this. We would then add in text saying, dynamically generated text saying, if you're sending this, here's about what we think of the 2-for-1. Like, I don't know why, right now, I don't know why it suggested this as a 2-for-1 pullout. But that is what it would do different than other things. But I wasn't even going to show it until you asked that, because I didn't think it was ready for showing yet. But that's what's coming. It works more for Dynasty trades than redraft, where the trades are usually smaller. Let's take a look at the next one, Leo Map. So the recap on that one, I like the Trey McBride buy. I think we got an okay price there. And then the other one, it does get you more depth to replace Ricky Pearsall. I can't argue with that. Maybe you couldn't get something else going for it. My gut is saying I just didn't like it that much. All righty, we got Leo Map, 10-team Superflex, start 10. One side, Jordan Love, Jalen Waddle, Kyron Williams at a second. Or Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. So just like we were saying with the let me see what the analyzer pulls up for this one. Does it find that a 27-second for Krosky-Merritt? Pretty even. Yeah. So it does start. I mean, let's take a look at how it breaks this one down. That is the wrong screen. Actually, I'm looking at it right now. I called out 27-second for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, pretty even. We find that, we swap it off. Then we're looking at kind of a 3 for 2. Jordan Love, Jalen Waddle, and Kyron Williams. Does that get you Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin? I don't think that's a horrible value swap. In the 3 for 2, I don't necessarily love getting Terry McLaurin back if I'm moving Love, Waddle, and Williams for a bit of the age there, but we still get upside in Jaden Daniels. So if we're buying low on Jaden Daniels right now, or lower, now that he'll have McLaurin, he'll have Stephon Diggs, so that even if we end up in a situation where McLaurin has health issues again, I don't think we're going to see as much health issues with Jaden Daniels. So I think I'm okay with this deal. I think I'm okay with this. Where I don't think this is a massive oversend. Maybe you could get a smidge back on the other side, like a third added on the Jaden Daniels side. But if that's the deal breaker, And then this was the Jaden Daniels person sending it. I could kind of go both ways. I think I would, if I was sending Jaden Daniels away, I would want to turn that second into a first, is my first thought. If I'm looking at this as the Jaden Daniels manager, I'm kind of evaluating it from both sides. Evan says I would be sending Daniels. Yep. I kind of like the upside of Daniels, so I might try to find a way to make that second into a third. Can I swap Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt or add a second onto that deal and get that second coming back to be a first? It's not horrendous, but you don't need to make it, especially for this year. Like Jalen Waddle and Terry McLaurin both have similar upside. You would get the Kyron Williams coming in, but a big down tier in production from Jaden Daniels to Jordan Love. So if I'm looking at this, I'd say I want to try to turn that into a first. Let's see, Landon. I see you. Let me take a look. Oh, we got two team reviews. So let's get to those. Let's queue that up. Let me refresh this. Make sure I get let's close this one out. Alrighty, let me run and grab my notebook. We're gonna pull up a team review. Let's clear this off the screen. We had 2 team reviews come through. Now, Landon, I saw that your message in the chat, but we actually got one that came in before it. And actually, Landon, I'm not sure you've fully submitted it. Just submitted my team for review. I think you still have to go to the team advice page and submit it. So there's a step where you pay for the team review credit, and then you apply that credit to a team on the team advice page. Jay Iconic, how long will I be on live? We've got 5 trade questions outstanding and 2 team reviews. We stop at 3 hours. I'm checking my screen to see how long we've been going. We've been going for an hour. At least an hour we'll still be on. Let me go get my notebook, so I'll have notes for the follow-ups on these. There it is. Landon, I see yours. We're back. The house is not big. but I was recording a video earlier and I write down my notes. So here is, oh, I don't want to lean off screen to do this. Jay Iconic about to send that in. Oh yeah. Jay, if you send one in, we will cover it tonight. It would take a lot of trades coming in for us to fall to the point where we wouldn't get to everything in the queue. As well as questions from the chat. If you put questions in the chat, we're going to cover those as well. Here's where we will leave this. I'm going to put my headphones on so I can hear the notifications coming through. We've got 2 team reviews for Mog Mogger in Chud League and Landon Chase in Rookie Central. I am writing down my note, the start of my notes, like names, and we're going to put timestamps on here. So we'll pull up these Dynasty teams. We'll go through them in depth, position by position. And what we do is we take, let me get it on the screen. We'll start this one. We'll go through and we'll come up with positional ratings for each position: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, etc. And the site is rebooting. I'll have to do some fixes after the live this weekend. We come up with a 0 through 4-star rating. Shaun Sisso, did the review not come in? No team review. If you had a trade go through, it should, Sean. We have 2 queues, a team review queue and a trade queue. Looks like the site is rebooting right now. No team one, Sean. And I don't see I get a notification when a payment goes through. And the last one I see is from Landon. Here is Chud League coming up on the screen. You did that one today, Sean? I don't want to leave you hanging, but I don't see anything on my end. If you keep responding, Sean, I'll pop in and read them. Here we are with the team review for Chud League. We'll kick this one off at 1 hour, 8 minutes, 40 seconds. And I write that down so you can find it on the YouTube replay after this. So it's a 12-team super flex, 5-point passing touchdown, start 9 on each side. PPR, no tight end premium. If we go position by position, we've got quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Fernando Mendoza. I feel like we're pretty strong here. We're pretty strong here. The rating I'm looking at is like a 3 out of 4. If Patrick Mahomes had been, no, I think we're like lower end of 3. It would take quite a bit for this to be 4. I feel pretty strong that we've got Mahomes, who's likely going to be top 10 for a while. Bo Nix has been QB7 and QB7 in his first 2 years. It would not surprise me if he was a top 10 quarterback again. We did a video on Bo Nix today. He just runs. He's going to get you about 400 yards rushing and multiple touchdowns on the ground each year. And like, that is just the cheat code in fantasy football. So if we have 2 top 10 guys and then a lot of tradable value in Fernando Mendoza, I'm feeling like we're at a pretty solid 3. And we might look at moving Mendoza. Possibly. We had a trade or a team review that we did on Monday where we recommended, hey, Cam Ward hype is pretty high and his scoring hasn't really matched that. And we don't see that he's going to be running a lot. What if we just go get more production for this year, as an example? So we'll keep our options open there. Running backs: Breece Hall, Bucky Irving, Ramondre Stevenson. As a 1, 2, 3, it's feeling like a 2. It's not a bad running back room. It's nothing special. There's not a ton of tradable value here. We've already talked about Bucky Irving a bit on the show. I think the market is low on him. But if he's just going to be running back 12 to 18 for the next multiple years with 55% of the snaps as an average, and that's kind of what the market thinks of his production for the next couple of years, then he's valued properly. You just can't get any of the upside priced into trades right now from what I've seen generally. Maybe you can in your league, but mostly what I've seen with trades on Bucky Irving are kind of low for what I think he is. Breece Hall, still holding on to value. We were talking about a trade on the show earlier with Kyron Williams and a swap for Breece Hall, and we haven't seen real top 12 production from Breece in a minute. Some of that is injury, some of that is just the Jets. But is this a situation where your team likely has Hall, Irving, Stevenson as two running back twos? What is this, 12-team league? And then a flex RB3? Yeah, and that's about a 2. Like, you can cover the position fine. Wide receivers: Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rome Odunze, T. Higgins, Dejon Stribling. Nothing really else of note. Xavier Thomas. I'm just a Bears fan. I'll call him out. I don't know that we're expecting a lot for him in fantasy scoring this year. We're starting 9 players. I'm borderline 2 to 3 on this. I'll probably put down 3, but we're right in between there. We've got 3 starters we feel pretty good about. The market is up and down on Dejon Stribling right now. I don't know what he's going to be as a player this year. I do feel a little vindicated. I said I was drafting Stribling like early 2nd round in rookie drafts, and ADP for him was nowhere near that, and he wasn't really getting picked there in leagues. Like, he was the first pick of the 2nd round, and if he became the lead guy for the 49ers, that's really valuable. I don't know that he will, but with Pierce all out, there's definitely like a value rise there in terms of perception. Depending on trades, I'm going to look at some options for that. I might just move him based on the perception. Tight ends, we've got Brock Bowers, David Njoku, Travis Kelce. That's a 4. Bowers is the top tight end for Dynasty right now. Travis Kelce was a top 5 tight end in scoring last year. There's no tight end premium in this league, but you've got the best tight end and then one of the best options for putting in a bye week. I like that. Or covering for an injury. Like, we have a lot of production there. Do we have great tradable value from Kelce? I don't know. I don't think so. For draft picks, you've got your own picks, an extra 2nd, an extra 3rd, and then just your own picks going forward. If you just got your own picks, we call it a 2. Hey, Noah, chill out. It's still moving. It's still going. Is it stopping? Is it stopping? Is it stopping? We are going to cover questions from the chat once we are done with this team review. We'll come back and we'll read them. There aren't that many. If you hang on for a couple minutes, we'll get there. We'll get there. So how are we feeling with this team? This is a team that, depending on your league, I feel like can contend or may not. It's borderline. A little bit missing depth at wide receiver for a big playoff push. Same thing with running backs. How is Patrick Mahomes going to look? Mendoza's not starting to begin the year, but Fields would cover for Mahomes. So we might be all right. Looking at what we've got here, we have our graphs of lineup power. What this does is it looks at your league's settings and then looks at all of the lineups in your league, all of the rosters in your league. All of the rosters in your league, and it generates we have projected scoring for them. Sorry, I had to ban someone. We have projected scoring for those. So it puts together like, hey, what does a weekly lineup look like across the league? And then who's got the most? And this is a pretty tightly grouped together set. So we've got a top team, which is likely to make the playoffs, and then a mix of guys all really close to each other. So what we were talking about when we were looking at your team is saying like, close, maybe. And then when we look at it this way, like, it's pretty tightly grouped together and you're near the top. So what can we do to get you contending more solidly? If we look down here, I want to try to get a gauge. Yeah, I was thinking, is this a league that just was a startup? When the grouping is this tightly put together, that's typically what I find. And I think it's a pretty good team coming out of a startup. Maybe it's not. I don't know why we'd have 2026 14ths. So hopefully I got that right. With the roster, I think you're contending, and I would play this out like I'm contending. I'm probably not sending many future firsts away to push in. Trying to see if I don't know which person in the chat this team is. So I'm trying to also keep scanning them. I'm probably not sending future firsts away to go further all in this year, but I will send these seconds. And the things that I would do at these 27 seconds, a 28 second, would be try to find some players on their last couple years in the league. So like, is King Hippo someone who traded? No, they just went really young. I was hoping if I clicked on King Hippo here that I might see a bunch of future first round picks, but I'm not seeing that. With your team, I would be looking to take these seconds and try to bring in like veteran scoring producers. And you may not be able to do that in the next couple weeks. A lot of the times coming out, I was talking to a person in our last startup. Sometimes you get into a startup and you've got 12 managers that all think they're contending, and then no one wants to move things. I see you, Lucas. We'll cover you soon. So I would be looking to take these second round picks. If you can, just buy producers of players that you can get for 1 second round pick. Like on the low end would be someone like DK Metcalf for a second for 2 to 3 more years of decent wide receiver production to be a 4th wide receiver for you. You could send a second for like even older guys who have been good in the past couple of years, like Devontae Adams. You could probably get for a second or less. So we're going to be looking for things like that. If we're doing any sort of other trades, it may be down tiering from Brock Bowers to give you an edge on production. We've got the most valuable tight end. If you're able to make a move down to like Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland and pick up another player, like we're looking at probably a not that far off drop in terms of production at tight end to bring in another starting wide receiver or starting running back for you, because the depth here falls off pretty quickly. If we're looking at having to start 9 players and we go Mahomes, Knicks as 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5, but we'll come back to him and say 5, 6, 7, 8. So Ramondre is starting each week. This is probably a spot where we might just look to move Mendoza and move Bo Nix. Other options that I like as older producing quarterbacks, like Jared Goff, has been a top 10 quarterback for years now. He's older, but he's 31. You'll get 3 to 4 more years of top 10 production at a much cheaper value. And then you just have a stronger producing lineup. That's likely what we're going to look at. Like consolidating, moving some of this QB value from Mendoza into your weekly lineup, moving to see if we can get more production from Brock Bowers by doing some sort of trade there, sending second round picks away to get production now. Because especially with 2027, I don't know that we're seeing that much of a value rise going forward for the picks. The market is really high on 2027 as a draft class already. So second round picks could go up in value. Like in any given year, we're saying, hey, the next, you get the picks for next year right now and they go up in value. Like, I don't know that it's as strong this year because the market already really likes them. So let's move them. Let's move these seconds and thirds and do upgrades on your players to get higher scoring. So I'll go through all of the rosters and I'll put together like, hey, what could we get with these seconds? If we move a second and Njoku, or maybe Njoku's a bad player name. If we move a second and Mendoza, can we just get a much better receiver to be using each week? And then go with Mahomes and Bo Nix as our 1-2 for the season. So we'll put some of that together. That's my general thoughts looking at it. Again, like a strong team. What I'll say here with the scoring, because it's so tightly put together like this, the fun of fantasy is we don't know what's going to happen. So don't feel confident because this chart puts you at the top. a lot of stuff is going to change as soon as we start playing games. And that's why we want to add in a couple more players to cover any holes for you. So we'll write that one up within 24 hours. That will be available here. We've got a question from Jay. How do I know if my trade advice came through? If it's in the queue, Jay, the queue, the queue scrolls across the top of the screen on YouTube and Twitch. At the top of your screen on TikTok, TikTok puts things up there. Like I don't have that screen space available to me. So you can see the queue on the Twitch and on the YouTube feeds. There are 5 on the version that I'm looking at, but yours probably came through, Jay. If you posted it, it came through. You'll also, Jay, you would also be able to see that right here. If you click my advice, it would show up right around, it would show up right in here. If you see your league there, or you can look at this version of the page on when you're logged in. For me, it shows me all the trades and team reviews that I have reviewed or have pending as reviews. So there you go, Jay. I really bring that up to say for Meaners, yours will show up here as complete tomorrow within 24 hours with a full write-up of the things that we've been talking about, as well as actual trade advice, actionable fair value trades in your league, and then what I'm thinking of those and the types of counters I would or wouldn't accept. So thank you very much, Meaners, for sending that one in. I haven't seen any messages in the chat from you, so maybe you're not catching it live. This will be on the replay, though. Let's cover a couple of questions from the trade queue. If I look at that, I've got... Let's get a queue update, and then we'll check some messages from the chat as well. Like CET Prodigy, who had asked, I see 3 team reviews, including the one we just did, so 2 more and 6 trades in the queue. Let's hit a trade question, and then we'll catch up on everything from the chat. Shaun, I think I see yours. Closed for renovations. I think I just read that. Here we go. CET Prodigy. Jalen Waddle and Ken Walker on one side of the deal. It's a 12-team 1 quarterback league, not Superflex. Not Superflex. On the other side, Tate, Etienne, 28 second and a 28 second. Let's break this down. Here's the way I split this up. If I'm splitting this up, am I taking Jalen Waddle or Carnell Tate? I'm taking Carnell Tate. Am I taking Ken Walker or Travis Etienne in 2 seconds in 2028? I'm okay with taking 2 seconds. Minkster is asking this question. I think that's an unrelated. I don't think that's this one. He was asking a question with Etienne. My brain was like, it's got to be the guy who asked this. And I remembered it's not. CET Prodigy asked this. I think I'm okay taking the Tate Etienne side. With the team that we have here, Etienne and Tate and 2 seconds. Is this what I would do with 2 seconds? Would I move from Carnell Tate to Jalen Waddle? No. Would I move 2 seconds and Travis Etienne to Ken Walker? I feel like it's much closer. I mean, I don't know that I would. If I'm moving 2 seconds, or I would, but not at the cost of doing Tate and Waddle. Like if I'm taking Etienne in 2 seconds, can I get to Walker or a better running back? And would I do that deal? Yeah. CET says, look at all the studs on the team. Puka, Neighbors, Tate, McConkey, Gibbs, Etienne, Henry. Yeah, it's a good team. It's a good team. Drake May, Mahomes. Could you get a better deal moving the seconds? Should you have to down tier? You was offered the Tate side and you took it. Oh, you took the Tate side. I mean, I've been saying I liked the Tate side. Minkster says, I got to have Walker and Waddle. I was saying I liked the Tate side. I think I'm taking the Tate side. And then taking those seconds and trading them away for the season before the season starts. That is what I would do. Landon, would you mind doing the team review after this one? Yeah, sure. Let's hit this one right now. Landon's here. As this loads, let's hit some questions from the chat. CJ Vikes, welcome back. How are you doing this year? Not a fantasy question, but who's the biggest what if? Sammy Watkins, Terry McLaurin, or DJ Moore? It's got to be Sammy Watkins. It's got to be Sammy Watkins. Jacob Herman says, is it ESPN? I don't know what that means, Jacob Herman. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Deadeye, how are you? How was the movie today? Let's get this one on the screen for Landon. Am I reading it right? Yes. I had a name in chat today when we were gaming, and for about 30 minutes, I was just saying the wrong thing. I think it was shaved Wookiee, or maybe it was scared Wookiee, and I was calling them shaved Wookiee. I'm losing my mind. We've got Landon's team. We're pulling it up right now. This one's going to start at 1:28 on the timestamp. We do our best to get close on the timestamp that will show up in description. Let's get this one up for Landon just because he's got to go and he is... do I need to... We're doing a team review. We're doing a team review. Team reviews get some priority. That's probably the best way to say what I mean. If my face is glowing white like this, it means the site is probably rebooting. So let's get it going. Connor, what should I be looking for in a trade where I'm giving up Josh Downs and or Jonathan Brooks in Dynasty? Connor, check out our pinned videos for our Dynasty trade builder, Connor. It's exactly what you're asking, Connor. That's the only reason I would send you to a different video, and we're about to do this team review. Take a look at the trade builder. It does exactly that. You click on the players from your team you want to move, and then it tells you fair value trades from your league. Here we go, grabbing this, clicking that, pasting this in right here. There we go. There's a paste. Does it pop up? It oughta. It's coming in a moment. We're queuing this one up for you, Landon. CJ's talking about Walker. Walker is 2 on an offense with a quarterback who blew out his knee. Give me the Tate side. Walker is 2 with a quarterback who blew out his knee. Mahomes blew out his knee. Ken Walker's not a 2. Ken Walker's not a 2. Is this loading? Come on, come on. Here it is. Rookie Central. Let's get a better timestamp on here. 1:29:30. Alrighty. This is Rookie Central is the league. It's a 10-team, 1 quarterback, start 7 dynasty league. It's a shallow league. There's nothing wrong with a league being shallow. We always bring this up to then follow that up and say, shallow leagues, value goes to the top. So when we're looking at trades and saying things, if we're only starting 70 players in a given week compared to a deeper league that might start, my leagues are 12 by 10. There's nothing better or worse about a league being shallow or deep, but the comparison of a 120 players starting each week and 12 times 10 is 50 fewer players if we're starting only 70, right? 30 to get to 100, 20 to get to 120. Those 50 players, that value all gets redistributed up. So if a player's not likely to be a producer like Jordan Mason on the roster, I was looking for an example of a lower tier player, then they're just not going to be as valuable as you might think coming from your dynasty league. So let's talk about the team. Tilted Bowers. 10-team 1 quarterback, start 7. We've got Jaden Daniels. I really like Jaden Daniels in Dynasty, coming off of a lot of injuries last year. I mean, this is 3 or 4, a 3 or a 4 in a rating. Looking at it saying what would be a 4, it would be Josh Allen, maybe Drake May, A 4 could be, maybe we're looking at Lamar in the same range. We're in the close, like top 3, top 4. This is a 3 to a 4. The secondary quarterback behind that, Brock Purdy, is a good quarterback to cover for any injuries. Both of your guys were injured last year. Actually, let's call this a 4 on value. With Purdy being the second option, we're looking pretty good. In points per game last year, Purdy was really solid with a lot of touchdowns. Those don't always repeat. This could be a year where it's a lot of rushing touchdowns for Christian McCaffrey, and things that Brock Purdy was converting into touchdowns in the red zone just becomes rushing touchdowns. That's kind of the flukiness of that one stat. Touchdowns don't repeat as often as people think they do. So that's why we'll see players jump around in value from year to year, because one year they'll get touchdowns. Like Terry McLaurin had in 2024 was a top 5 wide receiver. Nothing had changed. He just caught more touchdowns. He got the same amount of yardage. He just went from 4 touchdowns to 13. Then he went from a wide receiver 3 to a top 5 wide receiver. So that could happen in reverse for Brock Purdy. I don't know that it will or won't. The offense still looks to be pretty good. So it's a great second option to have. Running backs: Jeremiah Love, Omarion Hampton, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard. This is pretty solid. This is going to be, in a league like this, I mean, a 3 to 4. Kemps, we are doing trade reviews right after this one. I'm going to say you're probably one of the top 3 running back rooms in the league, right? Love, Hampton, Jacobs, for those. That's probably the starters in there. Miguel, I see you. We are going to get to questions in the chat. We're just in a team review right now. So I think we're doing really strong at running back as well, with a ton of tradability too. But there's a lot of value here that we could trade if we needed to. Oh, Yayo, Yayo is Meaners. Thank you, Yayo. I'll commit that to memory because I've seen your questions and trades a lot of times, and I like it. Wide receivers: Neighbors, Wilson, McConkey, Burden, A.J. Brown, Christian Watson. This is feeling, there's no studs here, but I think studs are buyable. This is one where I don't know that we have the production. A.J. Brown's probably top 12. Garrett Wilson could be. He doesn't have a ton of tradable value. It's been a while since he's been top 12. He still has that talent. Neighbors is there, but we don't have sure top 5. But we do have a ton of options. This is a 3 or a 4. I'm going to write down 3. Tight end, you got the best. Yeah, tight end is a 4. There's no tight end premium in the league. But it's 2 of the top 4, 2 of the top 3 tight ends are on your roster. So we're looking really good. And then you have all of your own picks. So we put that as a 2. If you have your own picks, we've just been rating that as a 2. If you had more firsts, it'd get you up to a 3. And then teams in rebuilding who often have 3 first-round picks in the next couple of years, that's what would get you to a 4. This is feeling like a strong team, a very strong team. I'm expecting that this is a contending team. We don't even have a lot of assets losing value. I would call them value decaying assets. This is a contending roster. This is a contending roster next year. I'm contending with this. The things that we can do with a team like this is try to bring in another Josh Jacobs somewhere. We've got a Josh Jacobs and A.J. Brown. That's a veteran. Likely to be in their last 1 to 2 years, and I would play them out as though they are in their last 1 to 2 years. So we may want to bring in one more of those. And then the other thing that I'll say with this roster, the 2 things jumping out to me right away. This is what I would do if I'm looking at these teams is get stronger receivers. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 receivers that could all start maybe every week Maybe we knock out Concepcion. In this league, 10 teams start 7. We're starting, what are we looking at? 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end and a flex. So 3 wide receivers, and we're having to decide between really good options to get to 3 each week. So some of the fun of a league like this is your start sit decisions mean more, but what I'm trying to do is consolidate assets. So before the season starts, I'd like to get a couple 3-for-2 trades done or 2-for-3 trades done to bring in veteran options that are going to produce but hold less value. And then maybe like a couple like stribbling options, maybe 1 or 2 of those in trades as things that we bring in order to get the top end stronger. And then a couple like upside shots, 1 or 2 more. The obvious spots to do that, like we shouldn't have Loveland as a second tight end. We can move him for a ton, or just use Loveland and just convert Brock Bowers into a wide receiver, or move Brock Bowers and McConkey and get one of the best wide receivers. Stuff like that is what we're looking to do with a team like this. And this is one where I'd even consider like we could maybe move the 27 first if it's going to put us near the top. And when I'm looking at your team, where are we in here? Tilted Bowers, middle of the pack, we're middle of the pack here because the starting lineup is spread out super far. All of the value that you have is spread across a bunch of wide receivers. So like AJ Brown is starting every week. Is Burden starting every week? Is McConkey starting every week? Is Garrett Wilson starting every week? We're probably better off trading these for things that we feel very confident about starting. This is also my general strategy in redraft. Once we finish our draft in a redraft league, roll it all up, continuously be rolling it up to better starters, because in a redraft league, players just come out of nowhere. Michael Wilson comes out of nowhere and is startable. So you don't want to put a Ladd McConkey on your bench and start Michael Wilson. You want to have traded Ladd McConkey to have, Jamar Chase, Puka, and Michael Wilson as a third option. That's what I like to do in a redraft league. In a dynasty league, we're going to be looking to do the same thing. Maybe we look at moving the hype of Burden. If we can sell him at the high end as though he's already broken out, and pair him with Bowers or Loveland and get 2 stud wide receivers back, something like that. So I'm going to build a bunch of trades like this with those concepts in mind. I would also look at moving Brock Purdy, but we're trying to find is just, can we consolidate? Can we consolidate and move things into the starting lineup? This chart is not gospel, and this league is pretty tightly packed together, but I would expect if you make moves, you should be contending this year and contending going forward. So I'll find more trade examples in here. If we look at, I don't know that I see any teams already collecting firsts. Maybe this team, Mikey Lane. I may look at can we get JSN from him as an option? Or can we down tier? Maybe we get Jared Goff as our second quarterback and send him a younger option. We're looking to find spots where people might be excited about the youth you have because you don't need as much as you have. So we'll type all that up. We'll put together some clear trade options and a clear plan of the types of trades to be sending out. And that'll be available for you tomorrow. Thank you very much, Landon, for submitting this one. Thank you very much. I've said it a bunch of times in this one. My brain is telling me just say it again. We want JSNs. We want Jamar Chases. We want Pukas. We want Amon-Ra's. We don't want Jordan Addisons. We don't want Alec Pierce's in a dynasty league as shallow as this one. So we're just going to keep trying to go higher, higher, higher up and consolidate the wide receivers you have. Let's close that one out and pull it up over here. Now, I've been saying I would check in on the chat. Let's take a look. We got Grant 23, Chase Brown and DK, or Devontae and Swift. I'm getting the Chase Brown package. Grant, we're doing dynasty trades through our sites. We're going to pull those up. You guys can answer each other's in the chat as well. I won't stop you. But if you guys have a dynasty question, this is where we grab them. It lets us put together graphics like this for our trade questions. We're also pivoting to a Dynasty trade right now. This Dynasty trade comes to us from Bryce. Bryce MCK15. I don't know what that means. But he's got a trade in a 12-team, 1 quarterback start 8, which is why we don't take trade questions from the chat. Values change based on your league's scoring. We're just looking at a team that's a shallower league. Players just have very different values in that league. So your league scorings really do matter. To give you the best advice, that's why we make them come through the site. Here's the trade. In a 1 QB league, Jackson Dart, Judkins, and the 206, or Wandale, the 103, and the 303. I think I'm just sticking with Dart and Judkins. Is there anyone here not sticking with Dart and Judkins? I like the 103. We're probably taking Jordan Tyson there. We'd go Love, Tate, Tyson in this draft. I'm not that excited about Wandale in a 12-team start 8. I like Judkins much better at running back compared to Wandale at wide receiver. And then Dart in a Superflex league, I would like more than the 102, but but this is a 1 quarterback league. He's still probably a top 10 quarterback. This is a team that has Jackson Dart and Bo Nix. If we're looking at moving these things, Dart, Nix, Malik Willis, to try to move some of this stuff into our lineup, I don't know that bringing in Wandale in a start 8 is what I want to do. I'd probably want to get a wide receiver that has a shot at being consistent top 24. Wandale feels to me like we probably just saw his best year, and then he goes back to being a wide receiver 3 in scoring. So I think we have better upside with Dart and Judkins, and if we're making a deal like this is just not enough value back on the Wandale and 103 side. I feel like some of what I've said is I don't love the players on the 103 side, like Wandale. I also just don't think you're getting enough. Like, you're not getting enough, and the parts you're getting, I don't actually want. So I would say with Dart and Judkins, I would be thrilled to move the 206. I think you should get much more back if you're moving the 206. Or if you're moving like Judkins, Dart, and the 206. Let's hit another trade. Let's churn through some of the Dynasty trades. We've got some that came in, like Kemp with 11 minutes ago on my screen. I'm not sure exactly that the time has updated. Let's get up to speed. We got Shuban an hour ago, and we still have another team review coming up. Shuban, 8-team, 1 quarterback start 8. We're starting 64 players a week. So we're looking at something shallow. We got Trey McBride, no tight end premium here. Trey McBride and Rashad White, or CeeDee Lamb and Dallas Goedert. I think it's Lamb and Goedert. I think it's Lamb and Goedert. If you have Kittle and Goddard, something's gone wrong here. Where Shuban, I'm not sure this is the right league selected. I see you have Dallas Goedert, but you don't have CeeDee Lamb. Have you moved Lamb, or are we getting Lamb in another spot? In this deal, it's super even to me. If we're moving Goddard and we just want to have a long-term tight end, it's very close to saying Lamb for Trey McBride. I might prefer CeeDee Lamb. If I was coming out of a startup draft, I'm more likely to have Lamb and Goddard than I am to have Trey McBride, but I don't think this is a bad value swap. This is within the range of reasonable that I don't know that I would do it based on my preference, but my knowledge of the market does say, like, this isn't insane. Either side, either one, if this league came through in my trade, I'd say, like, yep, fair, done. And that's sometimes the answer of, like, yes, this is okay to do. But also, the players that I'm seeing for your league don't line up with what this trade is. So maybe it got submitted under the wrong league. Let's take a look at a trade for McLovin. Let's do the McLovin's trade, chat, and then the next team review. This is a 12-team, 1 quarterback start 7. PPR. We're looking at Emeka Ibuka and Ramondre Stevenson. Thank you, Junior. Emeka Ibuka and Ramondre Stevenson, or Bashal Tootin and Tyler Warren. I think the age is just going to do it for me. I'm a Tyler Warren believer. This league does not have a tight end premium, but I believe that Tyler Warren should be much closer in value to Colston Loveland. We saw really good production from Tyler Warren to start the year. He plays in a similar area of the field as like Pittman. A lot of catches over the middle of the field. We saw production immediately from Tyler Warren. Pittman is now gone. I think Tyler Warren has room to take on a slightly larger role. And then the fall off that we saw with Tyler Warren last year, where he had a great first half and a bad second half, I think that has a lot to do with the quarterback they were using got injured, and their backup quarterback was injured, and they were starting Phillip Rivers, who had been retired for 3 to 4 years. Most teams don't start long retired quarterbacks. So I think we would have seen a much better finish to the year from Tyler Warren. And then in Dynasty, like I think we've got one more year of Ramondre Stevenson before he's cut by the Patriots based on his deal. It wouldn't surprise me if they kept him, but at some point I do see this as a passing of the torch to Trevion Henderson. So I would take the Tootin side. I don't know that Tootin has long-term value, but I would take the Tootin and Tyler Warren side. I do really like Emeka Ibuka as well. Okie dokie. We have a team review in the queue from Shaun Sisso. That was the name that yep, I see you, Shaun. Here we go. Let's get it pulled up. Let's hit start. Let's hit review. Let's bring it over onto here. The league is the Royal Dynasty. Oh, the Queen's Dynasty. The Queen's Dynasty. CF Yapper, I do see you guys. I do see the messages in the chat. I just try to... So what we're doing is watchable by everyone, but we are somewhat speaking to one person. We try to say the things to the one person in a way that could be enjoyable for everyone, or where we can give advice that fits for everyone. But here is the team review. Cal, how are you? Thanks for popping in. Oh, let me write this down. Let's get the timestamp going. What are we looking at? 140. Let's go 149.30. Means we're getting close to 2 hours live. This is for Shaun. So I am writing down my notes. I take down notes on paper of the things we talk about. We're going to go through Shaun's team right now, live on the show. We'll talk about ratings for each of the positions: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, draft picks. We'll talk about the state of the league and his spot in the league, and whether we think he's contending this year, contending next year, contending the year after that, and what I would be doing with this team. And then I'll go through afterwards, take my notes, and build real trades and put them together in a package for Shaun. Mason, if you've got a Dynasty trade question, you can submit it on our site. We've got a queue of them already. All right, the Royal Dynasty, 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 10, 6-point passing touchdown, half-point tight end premium. We just confirm 1 quarterback. In a 1 quarterback league, you've got Purdy, Tyler Shuck, Mac Jones, and Peyton, who is currently on the Eagles. This is a 1 to a 2. Like, you have quarterbacks, but if we click around in the rest of the league, are we at the top? This is going to be one of the bottom rooms in the league. So I'm going to go with a 1 here. Brock Purdy had a good year in points per game last year. He's probably around Dynasty quarterback 8, 9, 10. But if we're in a 12-team league, we're looking pretty low on QB scoring. Maybe Tyler Shuck takes a big step forward and you have value. We'll come back to it. Running backs, Achane, Tootin, Monangai, Jonah Coleman, Singleton, Chris Rodriguez. This is feeling like I can't call this a 3. This is just a 2. Achane's going to get us to a 2. We have some options behind there. We have some upside options. Monangai, Coleman, Singleton, Rodriguez. I don't know that I'm excited about any of them. But you have starters. We have tradable value. There are definitely managers that like Nick Singleton. There are managers that like Jonah Coleman. There are managers that like Kyle Monangai at a lot of value. So if we're in the middle of a rebuild, if we're looking at a weaker quarterback room and a weaker running back room, those are movable pieces. Do we have usable trade value? Wide receivers, Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Marvin Harrison, Casey Concepcion, Jalen Coker, Torrey Horton, Dejon Stribling jumping out to me in the mix here. Not horrible. This is probably like a week 3. Mostly on the upside of Tate, Tyson, Concepcion. Dejon Stribling getting some buzz in recent weeks. Tight ends, Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft is a tight end. Do we have a tight end in this tight end premium? What I mean, what I mean there, Amin, we'll get to your question. He's a usable tight end. He's a good tight end. He's not great. He's like tight end 5 is what I would have him at. So we're feeling like strong. There's probably a 2 at tight ends. K. Dotton behind that, not getting much. Jake Tonjes, not doing much. Dulcich, there's some excitement about. I don't have that much excitement for Dulcich. For first round picks, we've got 2 27 firsts, no 28 first, no 29 first. I'm going to put this down as a 1. We've got 3 years of picks here. We don't have 3 firsts. This is feeling like a rebuilding team. A rebuilder. A lot of the ones that we do here, we're talking about teams like, oh yeah, you're contending. I do not see this one contending strongly this year. And I don't know that if I had this roster, I would look to contend. So what can we do? I think the general notes that I give to any team rebuilding is everything on your roster can move. And the contending version of your team, it is very possible, does not have any of these players. Because what we want to be doing is making a lot of trades for assets that can go up in value or trades that kind of clean up our value. Right now, the example I give is like Monangai, Jonah Coleman. There are not a ton of 4th round NFL draft pick running backs that break out or hit the hype levels that Jonah Coleman has hit. This is someone that I'm typically moving on from at the high end of the market. So when I build trades involving Jonah Coleman, I'll be looking at what's the most he's getting traded for, and then can we get that or more right now? If we pair Jonah Coleman with Tucker Kraft, do we come away with one much better receiver or a good receiver and a 1st round pick? We're going to be building trades, trying to roll things up and move them to get firsts, 28 firsts, 29 firsts. Really, with this team, either of those. I'd prefer a 28. Obviously, I prefer a 27, but right now they're priced really high. So are we able to get value rising assets in 27 firsts? It's rough. It's rough right now in the market because everyone thinks they know all of the great players that are coming in 2027. We don't totally know that. But the picks are high. If we get 28 firsts, they're probably just going to go up in value. You would have to wait till 2028 to make the pick, but it's something that's also just tradable next year at a higher price. So what I would say with a team like this is I guess I'm holding Carnell Tate to see how he performs. Tate and Tyson are probably the only things that I'm not moving unless I'm getting high-end assets back as though they're already hitting. Like if Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson are going to be what Tet McMillan is in a year, the only way I'm selling them is if someone is paying as though they're already Tet McMillan. So I'll put together a couple example trades that I would make there. So I'll build like some packages, like here is where I could move Carnell Tate because we're selling him as though he's already amazing. And those trades probably get declined. I'll put them in there as offers of what I would need for those guys. But what we're going to be doing is just building a league, a team like this. Everything can go. And we're just trying to find packages that include players people like Brock Purdy, people like Bashal Tutin. Can I get anyone to pay me for Jalen Coker? The wins that you can get right now are with players like Horton, Coker, Dulcich, Chris Rodriguez, Singleton, Coleman. We're looking at how many of these guys that could become Jack Besh, that could become Rashad Bateman, that could become, is it Jalen Lane or Jacoby Lane? I haven't thought about his name in a long time. There's a lot of guys that get hyped in training camp that don't become anything. And they're often players like Jonah Coleman, Nick Singleton, DeJon Stribling, in that range. So if I can sell them as though they're not duds with a team like this, I want to be rolling things back to first round picks. Because second round picks, when they miss after a year, are just not worth anything. So in a rebuild, we're looking for firsts. We're looking for maybe some value rising assets as well. We could target someone like a Zach Charbonnet who's hurt right now. If there's negative news about Malik Neighbors, we should be trading for Malik Neighbors because these guys are talented. And when they're playing again, their value will come back up and they fit the category. We want things that are going up in value. For players like Neighbors and Charbonnet, you don't ever have to even start them. You trade for them when they're injured, and when they're healthy, we trade them away for more and try to do that again. So throughout the year, the things that I'm looking to do with a team like this, and I have rebuilding teams, is target players who are injured. Last year, I traded for a lot of Tucker Kraft. I traded for Cam Scatabo. I traded for Joe Burrow. We're trying to trade for players that are injured, and you need to be the one building those packages. So I'll say that on the live stream, and then I'll type that up again in the write-up and build out trade examples of what we're looking to do with players like that. So if there's buzz on Nick Singleton, I'll tell you, you got to be the one getting out there and looking to move him, putting together those packages. If Chris Rodriguez looks great in a preseason game, we take that as an opportunity to put together a package and get them to move. Because there are players like this that have preseason training camp hype for a week or two that then just kind of go away and we stop thinking about them. And I'm glad you have Jack Besh because he's the perfect example of that. Like, we liked him in the draft season last year. There are plenty of fantasy analysts that liked Jack Besh going to the Raiders in the second round last year. Like, that is a real, there are players that get drafted in the second round who become valuable. It's not all of them, and it's not most of them. So when people get excited about them based on, oh, the coach said they really liked them, most of the time that doesn't mean anything. Every NFL coach will say they like their players. Coach, what advantage does a coach have to say they don't like their players? You just make their player angry at you? If you were watching training camp stuff, most of the things coaches say are like they are positive on their players, or players are running with the ones, and that's just training camp. That does not mean that they will be on the first team or on, that they will be a starter. So as those things happen, if we get any sort of value boost, like, we're looking to send things away. Other targets on players, I might look at, like, in a one quarterback league, it's tougher because the players that I like are like Jordan Love is low on value. CJ Stroud is low on value, and they're just in the same group as Purdy and Shuck to me. Do they throw 25 touchdowns or do they hit the high end on the fluky touchdown stat and hit 30? And then we like them for an off season. So that's what we're looking at here. There's nothing other than like the rookies. There's nothing that I'm tied to, including someone like Achane. If moving Achane lets me get a big payout for Jonah Coleman, then I'm moving Achane. As long as we can break these trades down and say, I'm getting paid the full price for Devon Achane and a high price for Jonah Coleman. And sometimes that's what it takes to get the high price for Jonah Coleman. And when we're making those deals, I'll include packages in the write-up. We're trying to get back pieces that we can then just keep rolling with. Like last offseason, it was hard to trade Ramondre Stevenson. He's a player I use as an example. Like no one really wanted him. Trevion Henderson was there, but he did have value in the market. He has a little bit more value now, but as we're looking at players, like we don't want guys like that we can't move in return. So we'll put together example trades. I'll say that again in the trades of the types of players that we are okay with bringing back. But that's what I would be looking to do with this team. And the key to getting through a rebuild quicker is you have to send the trades and you have to send a ton of offers. And I would be looking at, we're not going to get 10% of our trade offers accepted. So we put together trade offers that we think are slightly high value return for us, small value wins for us. And if they get declined, that's fine. We're on to the next one. We're on to the next one. We take our small value wins as we get them. And as they get declined, you just got to let that wash over you and move on. Thank you very much for submitting this one, Shaun. This will be a fun one to go through. I like doing rebuild trades. Let's take a look at the chat because it has been a minute. Ooh, CET Prodigy, how do you feel about Pollard? Thinking about moving him and a first. He's been hitting 1,000 yards. I think the stat on Tony Pollard is he gets 1,000 yards. He's getting older. I expect that he's the starter for the team this year. But if I'm moving him in a first, I'm probably getting someone that hits that production or higher for longer. So yeah, I'm okay with moving him. Amon, can I connect my ESPN league to the site? That will come before the start of the NFL season. We'll be able to connect your redraft ESPN league for tools like the trade builder and the trade analyzer that we should have out by then. So yeah, it won't have, I mean, this is a lot of like the information that is shown here is not as valuable for redraft, but it'll work the same way. Can I send my team in here right now? No, not, I mean, ESPN doesn't really do Dynasty for Dynasty team reviews. IBC, am I hiring analysts? With what money, IBC? With my wife is in the room. There ain't barely money to pay us. There's barely money to pay us. There will be for redraft. I'm seeing your messages as they come through. Fletcher Moore, favorite second and third round wide receivers in a redraft? We're going to launch that next week. Our favorite picks by round. I'm still doing my research on those. With second and third round, like it's like your second round normal 10-man league. I mean, I wouldn't have said 10-man league is normal, Fletcher. So I'm glad you said 10-man league. I mean, it's tough to tell you anything because in a what's the best way to say this? In a 10-man league, the second round's kind of set. Where I typically take them pretty close to ADP order for the second round. Same thing with the first round. So I rarely have like favorite second round picks because you just can't get them. Players at the back half of the second round are typically back half of the second round players, and players at the first half of the second round typically won't be there at the back half. So I don't find that much value in, I mean, I guess people want it. I get asked it a lot. I should just put that together and tell it to people. But for an analyst, like, how does it help you? You can't pick those players if they're not available. And I wouldn't reach for them. Let's take a look. Eric, are you as high on Genty as everyone else? I'm about as high as on Genty as anyone else. I like that the Raiders brought in a hopefully better head coach, a really good offensive coordinator becoming their head coach. And I really like that they upgraded their offensive line. They brought in one of the best centers in the league. They paid him a ton of money, Linderbaum, to be the center for the Raiders. The Raiders had a horrible offensive line. If Brock Bowers is healthy for the whole year, that does help Ashton Genty. Just having a better offense helps Ashton Genty. They didn't do a ton to address wide receiver. Again, like we don't want, if we're looking for fantasy production, there's a ceiling on how much a team can score. So we don't want every team to have 4 Jamar Chases and then we still like their running backs, but no one hits that way. And the Raiders are the opposite. There's plenty of room to add in receivers that would just make the whole offense better and help Genty. So I'd say he's held back a little bit by that, but I like him similar. He's being drafted near Devon Achane. I think he has similar upside with a better offense. I would expect the Raiders offense to be better than the Dolphins offense this year. All right, Lucas, I've been seeing yours. I'm sorry, Lucas. I was offered Rice and Monty for AJ Brown and Scatabo. I don't know if it's worth it. I think I like Brown and Scatabo. I would stick with Brown and Scatabo and redraft. I would just stick with Brown and Scatabo with the distinction. Here's how I would break it down, Lucas. Could Rashee Rice outscore AJ Brown? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But AJ Brown was a top 12 receiver last year. I expect him to be in that range again this year. And then I think the upside for Scatabo is just much higher than the upside for David Montgomery. So I'd stay with what you got. Apologies, it took so long. Greasy K, how do I know you suck at fantasy football? I don't. Well, I don't think I do. I do see the other thing. You play on ESPN. I like ESPN more than Yahoo. I like ESPN probably the most of the sites that I've used. Eric, did I answer mine? I got stuck with ads? I don't know. Oh, I did. I made a decision though, Eric. I made a decision. I don't know that I'm going to go back on people with questions and ads. I don't know that I can go back. I can't. Jay Iconic, is Pigskin Dynasty trade advice far away? No, we just hit the chat. Let's go to it right now. Did we cover Pigskin? No, we have got this one and one more, Jay. Let's do a Dynasty trades. 10-team Superflex, and then yours is right after this, Jay. Also, Jay, check the YouTube. It shows the queue. I'm sorry, Jay. Let's take a look at this one. I don't mean to sass you. And then Injurweeeeeeez, we'll jump to that too. We've got 3 trades, then we'll jump to you, Injurweeeeeeez. Thank you, Injurweeeeeeez. Let's start with a thank you to Injurweeeeeeez, and then we will get to that. Let's hit these trades and then go straight to Injurweeeeeeez. Saquon Barkley and DK Metcalf. Okay. Or a first Jalen Warren and Mike Evans. This is close. This is close to me. Like, am I moving Saquon for a first and what? If I have Saquon, am I taking a first and Jalen Warren? No. Which side of this is Don Mo? Don Mo's the Jalen Warren side. Would I send a 27 first for Saquon? Yes. I think that's okay. I'm not in love with it, but I think it's okay. Would I send Mike Evans for DK Metcalf or Mike Evans and Warren for Metcalf? It feels like we're hitting the higher end. Like maybe you could get a third thrown back in. I think so. I think you could get a third thrown in with Saquon, but if you didn't get it, would I not do it? Does the team need Saquon? I think you could get a third. Is my gut keeps saying like, yeah, you could probably get a smidge more on there, but it's not a horrible deal. Eric says, wait, for real? Yeah, Eric. I think so. We got you, Injurweeeeeeeez. We're jumping to you. Iconic season with a trade. We've got notes on this trade. Bijan or A.J. Brown, Judkins of 26 late first. Which first? How late? Probably late. We'll call it. I mean, we have the actual, I'm pretty sure we have the picks in the tool. You could just use the actual picks, I think. The 107J in a 10-team. Okay. 10-team Superflex. 107 still good. I would have called that mid. Elijah Arroyo, Mark Andrews. We're sending a bunch to get Bijan. Would I send Judkins and a first and the 107 for? I think we're hitting the higher end. Like, can't you get more? Could you get a little bit more? The cousin here says, cousin who owns Bijan, just put him on the block. Feel like I need a more dominant running back to enter the season. Is this Judkins? Oh, it's the 10. Is it the 107 or the 108? It's the 108. The 108. I can see the 108. Okay, Judkins, the 108, and A.J. Brown probably clears for Bijan. And in a 10-team league, do I do it? That's probably very close. The 108 and A.J. Brown. It's a bit of a lot. How's your team look? You have Hurts, Nix, Ward. Could you move Ward to him? I think I would rather move Cam Ward than A.J. Brown. If you have 227 first and you just draft a quarterback next year, I would look at something like that. I feel like we're hitting the higher end. I mean, is this a trade you guys have put together and built? Like you guys have settled on this as the offer and now we're close to final here? I think we're hitting the Brown, Judkins, and the 108 should be plenty to do it. And I don't know that I would go over that. Or you turn Andrews and Arroyo into like a third or a second on there. That's what I would take a look at. If this doesn't get it done, I do not go any higher. And I'd say you could possibly just get a small piece added back on. Okay, Kemp and then Injurweeeeeeez. Kemp and then Injurweeeeeeez. Here we go. JSN, Judkins, Romeo Doubs. Okay, JSN, Judkins, and Doubs on one side. This is a 12-team, one quarterback. JSN, Judkins, Doubs. Or Zay Flowers, HN, David Montgomery, Worthy, and the 27 first. Which side of this are you, Kemp? You're sending Zay Flowers? Flowers, HN. Okay, what do we have to add to HN to get to Judkins? Worthy and Montgomery, at least. Flowers in a first gets you to JSN easily. Yeah, I think we're taking the JSN side here. If you can get that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any reason not to. I can't think of any reason not to. That has cleared out the Dynasty trade queue. We're about to go into team review. For the team, Nickelodeon. While this loads, let's take a look. We've got Lucas. I sent an offer of Bucky and Wan'Dale Robinson for Chase Brown and Golden. Is that a fair trade? You're in a redraft league, right, Lucas? I don't think you've gotten into any Dynasty leagues, have you? I feel like you would have told me. If it's a okay, yeah. Is it a okay, yeah, redraft. You offered Bucky and Wan'Dale Robinson for Chase Brown and Golden. Is that a fair trade? Yeah. I'd probably want the Chase Brown side. I wouldn't be surprised if he turned it down. If it went through, I could understand it, but I like moving Wan'Dale. Any other things here? I see injuries. Nick, need advice from 107 in a 12-man. Feel like I got to go double running back, but if Christian McCaffrey ain't there, I don't know who. You don't have to go double running back. You don't have to go double running back. What player do I like the most out of Jonathan Taylor, CeeDee Lamb, and Jefferson? CeeDee Lamb, and then Jefferson, and then Jonathan Taylor. I just like the wide receivers. I think we had a huge running back scoring year last year. That doesn't mean we will again. It could always go back. And then here we go. Here we go for Injurweeeeeeeez. Let me write it down, the team name, write down the timestamp. What time is it? 2 hours, 17:30. We are going to go through this team. We will look at it position by position. We'll give a rating for each position: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, draft picks, and then we'll come up with a thought of where does this team stand in the league? Are we contending this year? Are we contending next year? And so on for the next couple of years. And then we'll look at what are some of the things I would do if this was my team to get it contending as often as possible. We'll talk through that. We'll talk through some trade concepts and ideas on the live show. And then tomorrow you'll get the update on the site with a write-up of what we talked about, as well as built out trades based on the rosters in your league using your league's scoring. Like what I would send out and why. What sort of counters I would be open to, and so on. This is a 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 8, PPR, no tight end premium. Let's go through it. Quarterbacks: Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Bryce Young. I think we've got 2 top 10 quarterbacks here. I think we've got 2 top 10 quarterbacks here. Are they great top 10s? No, they're QB 8, 9, 10. Not Bryce Young, but looking at Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, they're probably going to be like 8, 9, 10, 11 this year. We've got 2 of them. We can go back and forth, play the matchups. This is probably just like, you have quarterback. You need quarterback? You have quarterback. They will do the quarterbacking. Are they going to run? No. Are they likely to be top 5 quarterbacks? No. But they're fine. They're solid. They're solid. It's not really likely that you're going to be able to trade them and get a ton of value for them. We'll take a look at that. We'll look at it, but I like these guys as I like older quarterbacks in Dynasty. Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff, what is it? Baker 30, Jared Goff 31. They're not going anywhere. I don't think they're going anywhere. Having youth at quarterback or just youth in Dynasty is cool. Not really we don't need that. If the example I give is like, we have Fernando Mendoza, or we could even just look at Bryce Young. We don't know how much longer Bryce Young's career is going to be. He's definitely younger than Jared Goff, but is he going to be playing in 3 years? Is Bryce Young still a starter? Is Jared Goff still a starter? It's probably Goff. So we don't need to care about age. Lucas says Baker Mayfield, the next Vikings quarterback. I would hate that because I'm a Bears fan. I go to Vikings games with my in-laws who live in Minnesota. I think Baker Mayfield is good. And if he's on the Vikings, he's probably good. Running backs: Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne. This is feeling like we want 3 running backs. We've got 3 running backs. Not really world beaters. I mean, but Josh Jacobs, maybe something beater. 3 guys who are going to finish around running back 12 to 18. I think that's fair for Jacobs, Javonte Williams, and Etienne. Is that crazy? No, I think it's fine. I mean, this feels like a 2. Not a ton of extra tradable value here, but solid. Wide receivers: Nico Collins, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jacoby Myers. I feel like we're just hitting 2s across the board. We're not hitting, there's no high tier studs here. I like Nico Collins. I'm probably pretty high on Nico Collins compared to the market. Someone that likely going to be a top 12 wide receiver, has plenty of years ahead of him. 27, 28 years old. If he plays until he's 30, is it going to surprise me if he's top 12 to top 15 for the next couple of years? But then past that, I feel like T. Higgins somewhat in that range, probably top 12 to 18 for 2 to 3 more years at least. And then DK Metcalf, a wide receiver 3. Maybe we get another continuation of what we saw from Christian Watson last year. So like could be good. But this, I don't know that I could even say this is a 3 here. And then tight end, we have, if we said Tucker Kraft was Jonathan tight end, Jake Ferguson's like the weaker version of that, where we're at. Is this the weakest tight end room in the league? No, but it's probably close. In a 12-team league, it's probably ranked 8, 9, 10. So is that a 1? And then picks. You've got a 29 first. This is like a 1 to a 0 on picks. So what can we do? What can we do? I do see Drew's question. Where did all the value go in this team with no future picks and no top tier guys? Nothing that we say here is meant to beat anyone up. And I think was Injurweeeeeeeeez someone who said they took over an orphan team? So let's find how to get this back on track. There's a common message. Everyone goes, everyone leaves, but we got to be strategic about it. So what I do here is I make a list of like, who is tradable? Who do people like? Who can I move easily? Who can I move without someone wanting to throw up in their mouth when they hit accept? Like Nico Collins. You can just move Nico Collins. T. Higgins. There are going to be teams who say, I don't want T. Higgins. He's old. I'm rebuilding. That's kind of where we start to hit the break point. DK Metcalf. If there's a team in your league that's rebuilding, they're not taking on DK Metcalf. I personally would, but they're not. So we start to build these lists like Nico Collins, we can move. Metcalf, we might not be able to. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt would be harder to move. So we start building packages of Nico Collins and Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt for a second. There are times where I'll look at this and I'll say, I think I should get a second for Crosky-Merritt. I'll send that out to everyone. And if it gets accepted, the first one that hits accept, great. Otherwise, I'm building out trades where I'm sending like Nico Collins for a fair value with Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt for a second on that trade. Because that's what I want to get for him. Or I start building him out as though he's a second round pick and I'm up tiering. The thing that I would say with this 212, I want to trade it. I don't want to make this pick. It just has such a low chance of becoming, it's a lotto ticket. Most lotto tickets miss. It could be Isaac Tisla, who did nothing in his first year and was about the 212 last year. We don't want to make the 212 pick and be holding an Isaac Tisla, be holding a Pat Bryant. These guys that I think Isaac Tisla had like 4 catches last year. That's a very low number, but I mean, someone pull that up. It's incredibly low for what he did. And that's what the 212 is. It's a future dud. Injurweeeeeeeez, I was thinking Stribling or Hurst for that 212 pick. I'm sending it in a dozen trade packages. If I have to make it and Stribling is there, great. I like DeJon Stribling. But I am just looking to move it because we want to turn it into something that can be going up in value. The 212 can become a player that becomes good, but it's often Tisla's. It's often Jack Besh's. That's the name that I've been using this offseason. Maybe we'll see Jack Besh have a great year too and make me look like a fool. There's going to be players I have takes on that I'm wrong. But every single thing on here, we're trying to build packages like that. Romeo Doubs and Nico Collins, Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt and Nico Collins. And I would be very strict. I'm not moving Nico or Josh Jacobs. Maybe if we just get a 28 first for him, we call that one done. Because that's the level. We want to have like a range of stud players that we only move if we're able to sell junk. Like the better the player is, the more rules you can set. You can only buy Nico Collins if you buy Romeo Doubs at full price. You can only buy Nico Collins if you buy Woody Marks, who might actually be okay as a second running back on Houston this year. And then I want to build out like 3-4-2 packages of Etienne, Higgins, and Metcalf as options to get back 2 players that are easy to move, or 2 assets that are easy to move, so that I can pair them with those assets with Jacoby Myers. And as we're doing that, start pulling out, just dropped my pencil as I'm flinging my hands around, start pulling out first round picks in there. 2028 first round picks, 2029 first round picks, things that will just be going up in value. Let me find that pencil. The notes here is you're going to get told a lot of times, I don't want that player. Like, oh, I think this trade is fair, but I'm not interested in them. And I get that a lot on my rebuilds. But the way to get through this rebuild faster is how much can you turn Tesla into a value rising asset? How much can you turn Chigakonkwo into a value rising asset? And you do that by moving Javonte Williams with them, Nico Collins with them, Ferguson with them. So I would look at probably like I would with this where there's not that many top tier assets. I'm building out like a ton of packages around Nico where I come away with at least 2 players as tradable as Nico. And then starting to roll up other guys with those in my future trades, as well as checking out like the other rules I'd say is if you're starting 1 quarterback, let's get down to just Bryce Young. We if we're not contending this year, let's get down to just Geno Smith, just nothing, and get as much value off of this team, with the notes of saying like seconds are okay so that we can trade seconds with other things. I don't really want thirds. Future picks are good, but I don't really want thirds. So we'll put together example packages and then the rules that I would have for those trades in the follow-up. But I don't think it's dire. Like it can be turned around. And there's teams that look to be worse in terms of scoring than you. Like we have things that people will want. People will want Josh Jacobs. They'll want Javonte Williams. They'll want these things. We just got to be the one selling, consistently out there selling. You can't just, the way to get out of a rebuild is like, you have to be the one building trade packages and sending the offers out and sending out a lot of them. So it's just work. You can't get by just putting someone on the trade block and then hoping a moron sends you an offer. We've got to put them together. So we'll put together examples as well as like guidelines for how I build them. And then we've also got the trade builder for building trades. And as long as you just are following the general rules that I'll put in the write-up, I think we can get back on track. But this is rebuilding for 1 to 2 years, because we just don't have picks. Thank you a ton for sending this one in, Injurweeeeeeeez. Our rookie draft is the 24th of this month. Unless you're here. Oh, actually, yeah. Here's something I'll say with the rookie draft this year. If you can get Lemon, Tyson, if you can get into the not in a 1 quarterback league. There's not really any quarterbacks in this draft that I like, but like Lemon, Tyson, if people are selling those picks for cheap or cheaper, I think the market is just generally low on those. So I'll put together some ideas of what I would send for those picks, of like what I think the low end is. Cause I think the market is just low on Tyson, Lemon, Jadarian Price, because people have heard the 2026 draft class is bad. And it is, from what we know, but it doesn't mean the good players in the draft class are bad. There's just few good players. What's the way to say that is, the way we tell if a draft class is bad is we count how many good players there are. And I think what the market is doing right now is they've heard the 2026 draft class, there's the few good players means bad. And then they take bad and they undervalue the good players that exist. So I think we can get them cheap. I'll put together some trade ideas there. And then we just want injured players. And throughout the year, target injured players. As players get injured, they can be on your team while they get healthy. You buy them low, and then once they're healthy again, you sell them high for more. Any injured player should go. You should try to get any injured player to go through your team in low, out high, and you don't even have to start them. All righty. Thank you very much, Injurweeeeeeeez, for sending that one in. See, Sports Jazz fan says, which is why I want to shop the 108 and hope someone can bite on my offer. I think there's still players at the 108. Injurweeeeeeeeez, I appreciate your help. This is the most informative help I've received. Thank you very much. Hopefully we get you back on track. We'll get you back on track. Let's check with the messages that came through. Ooh, Lucas. I'm off next Wednesday and I want to talk fantasy a bit if you're okay with that, because I got a couple questions, but I work tomorrow, so I got to head out. I'll be around on Wednesday, Lucas. And we'll probably, I think Lucas popped off. We're getting late. What are we at? We're at 2 hours, 30 minutes on the show. I'm making sure that we don't have that we have the right screen pulled up. I'm also trying to do a little bit of producing while I think. Next week, we're going to, I haven't fully decided all of the days of the week that will be live. But starting next week through August, we'll add more nightly shows. So faster turnaround on Dynasty trades, faster turnaround on team reviews, as well as more of a focus of redraft prep. So if you're watching and you want more redraft questions asked, like last year, we did a lot of just reading the chat and answering questions. And we will be doing some of that starting next week. As well as if people are looking to get in on mock drafts, I think we can figure out a way to get mock drafts showing without getting busted by TikTok. Yeah, Lucas, pop in on the gaming streams. Matt the man with the first time chat. If he's still here, hopefully. We are a bit slow on the chat today. In my opinion, it looks like the 2 is the best spot to pick from. Yeah, I don't think there is a best spot to pick from. Double running back, then pick them between who you like at either receiver or your elite quarterback at tight end. I mean, you're welcome to your opinion, Matt. I don't think there's any correlation in any year between the draft pick you have and your standings in fantasy football. Jaddy Dove. I'm not buying Loveland propaganda. I have Goddard over him. Okay. We're all welcome to our opinions. Here's the advice that I would give. You got to find a better balance between your opinion of players and the market's opinion. I mean, in a redraft, it's not going to matter a ton. You just don't draft them. But in general, if the market likes a player, you don't have to like them. You draft, like you can trade them. KG. My Dynasty League has divisions. Oh, I think, oh, don't do this. We set a new roster based off everyone's team. Oh, don't do it. Haha. I gotta tell you, haha. Do not type out your divisions. Ninja, first time playing Dynasty Superflex. Should I take Neighbors or Daniels 108? Let's pull it up. Here's how I would answer it, Ninja. Oh, Lucas, Goosey got hurt. Next time you're in on the stream, we can go over it. She's getting better, but she's doing good. She's doing good. Here's what I would do, Ninja. Let's take a look. She's already getting better, Lucas. I'm pulling up this for Ninja at the same time. Here's the site I would use, Ninja. Take a look at this site. It's Dynasty Data Lab. And you can Dynasty Data Lab. It's on the screen. Write that one down, Ninja. And then get a gauge of who are you asking? You're asking Neighbors or Daniels at the 108 in a Dynasty Superflex startup. I'm probably taking Jaden Daniels. Here's Daniels on average going at 109 and Malik Neighbors second round. So I'm generally following closer to the market there. And then if you wanted to, you could trade Daniels for neighbors and more. Or just trade back. Or take a look at that. Brady, got any Dynasty leagues? My friends don't want to do one. There are Dynasty leagues that start up in our Discord, Brady. I think the Discord link should be in our profile. I'm opening TikTok to look at it. Yeah, you can get to the Discord from the profile in TikTok. On Twitch, it's just in our Twitch panels. And then on YouTube and Twitch, you can do !Discord in the chat. But we have a channel for startups, for orphan leagues. I might still do another startup this year. We'll see how I'm feeling. So there will be a post on TikTok if we're doing another startup. And that's mostly just to tell people to go to the Discord where we'll actually start it. I think we're wrapping stuff up here. We're wrapping stuff up. Dano, Xavier Worthy, or Trey Tucker? I would go Xavier Worthy. Brady, you doing any mock drafts? Not tonight. We'll add mock drafts into the show next week. So this is our final show of the week, and then I'm going to talk to my wife and figure out what days we'll be live next week, but it's going to be more than our normal Monday and Wednesday going through August, and we'll add mock drafts into there. Weston Grimmer, thoughts on going back-to-back running back from pick 12 to pick 13? I wouldn't have any sort of plan going into the draft. Just rank the player. I mean, Weston Grimmer, just rank 14 players. It would be as easy as, the question is, Weston, is as easy as that. Rank 14 players. Or find someone. Yeah, Kira, there's an issue where the site needs to restart. So if you're getting a white screen saying 502 error, give it a moment and it'll come back up, and then that'll be fixed, hopefully by next week. Weston, rank 14 players. Just write down 14 names in the order you like them. If it's running back, take running back. If the best two players available to you at 12 and 13 are two wide receivers, take two wide receivers. If it's two running backs, take two running backs. If it's a mix, take a mix. And then Weston, next week we'll start sending out our rounds, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the players we like in each round, so you can have a path forward. If you end up with 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds, we'll have the wide receivers that we like in each of the next rounds so that you can plan the rest of your draft. And then Weston, we've also got we've also got a video on YouTube of my draft strategy rankings. Check that one out. It covers that. Check that out. Chaz, do I like Tootin, Swift, or Henderson? Henderson. And we're going to wrap it there because I'm going to go to bed and help out around the house. Thank you guys for being with us. There'll be videos on TikTok all week. We'll be live on Twitch tomorrow doing gaming. Twitch on Friday doing gaming, but we take questions during that as well on the Twitch channel. You can find that on the TikTok description, or if you're on Twitch, you can find it on your browser or phone or whatever you're using to watch us. That will be the end. Deadeye Big Boy Stream. Every day is a big boy stream, Deadeye. Every day is a big boy stream. Because I'm a big boy. Because I'm a big boy. So sorry. Let's end this one. I'm losing my mind. Take care, everyone. We will see you in the next one.